Here's a message to the gaming outsider. Hail to the king, baby.
Welcome to the Gaming Outsider Podcast. We've got yet another special guest this week. No, it's not Zack, but he is back. He, along with Jacob and myself, are welcoming Allen Scheck, the developer of Catastrophic Inversion, to talk about video game maps. In news, Sony is reportedly making a portable PS5 console. New games discussed this week include Kong Survival Instinct, Love Too Easily, Farmagia, and Locomotive. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com, facebook.com/groups/thegocast, and even a Discord server. And there's a link for that in the show notes of this very episode. It is Tuesday, November 26th, Thanksgiving Eve, for those that celebrate. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. First off, a blast from the past, Mr. Zack Parkerson. Good to have you back, man.
That's right, yeah. Terrible news. I returned.
Terrible news. No, dude, I missed you. Don't ever go away again.
I'm sure all two of the people that care, that listen, are excited.
Back by unpopular demand.
Yeah, that's exactly right. See, Jacob, he's most disappointed of all.
Well, yeah, because he's been on like 3 weeks in a row. He's like getting kind of used to it, you know?
Right. He's your second. I've been listening,
4.
man. He's better. He's better than me.
Well,
Lies.
It's true. It is a lie.
but in all seriousness, it is good
So
to have
modest.
you back.
So
And
glad
also-
Japan taught you modesty.
That's right.
You heard him jumping the gun before I announced him, but that is Jake Gunderson. How you doing, man?
Don't call me Jake Gunderson.
You
Hi.
wrote Jake on the thing right there. Jacob Gunderson. It is not just the three of us. We have a fourth joining us. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to the show Mr. Toastid Waffel himself, the developer of Catastrophic Inversion, which was showcased at R2V2 in October, Mr. Allen Scheck. How you doing, Allen?
Doing great, thanks. Good to be on here.
I am really excited to have you here, man, because you told me last night that this is the first time you've ever been on a podcast.
Really?
That is true.
Yeah, so no pressure, no nervousness, nothing. This is my first one too, so you'll
Yeah.
be fine. Yeah.
Give or take 600.
Yeah.
So real quick, before we get into, because I want to hear all about Zack in Japan, can you give everybody your spiel on what Catastrophic Inversion? I've been selling it, but I don't know if I've been selling it well. So why don't we have you explain it to everybody exactly what it is, because it's awesome and I've gushed about it enough.
Yeah, so like you, I find it very hard to actually properly explain it in words. You kind of just got to see it. But essentially, it's a cyber-themed VR multiplayer shooter. It's got all the usual first-person shooter game modes, capture the flag, deathmatch, whatnot, with ways to customize it. Kind of the big thing about the game, though, you can play it at home with joysticks like a normal VR game, but it really shines when you take it into a gym or another large space, because you can basically, the game helps you easily figure out how much space you have, whether any of the maps can fit in that space, and then it lines up the maps to your space so that you, and we've tested it with up to 10 other people, can play together and have a big multiplayer shooter match in real space without joysticks or any other motion, artificial motion. And then there's some other cool things, like we've got, elevators to take you up to other platforms and all sorts of stuff to kind of make the space feel even bigger than it really is.
It is something to behold, and at R2V2, it took a while for word to spread about your game. Like the morning, like nobody was playing it, but then as soon as those first couple groups went in, they all went upstairs and told everybody, you got to play this game, and then you were busy pretty much the rest of the day, if I remember correctly.
We were packed, yes. We started with like 1 or 2 people, and we had to kind of fill in with ourselves to join them, and then by the end we had to start cramming extra people into sessions because it was just
And as of now,
so full.
the game is available, right?
It is now available on MetaQuest for $10, so pick it up if you have a MetaQuest. Cool. Yeah.
That's a steal for
I
mean, granted, if you're going to play with 4 buddies, I guess you got to, it's $10
It is $40
each,
for 4 people, yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's a good the quest itself.
Yeah, plus the price of the quest, yeah.
Right.
Well, and Jacob and I have been talking about like how, like ways to market that. Like it needs to be sold to schools or like
team building exercises.
Yeah, like corporate places that want to do that. I mean, it's just
we
it's
had a
really-
lady at R2V2 that said that she wants to find a way to market this to her school board and try to get kids to play that after school. But
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
it's yeah.
Well, we are so glad you're here, man. I know we've been itching to have you on the show for a while, and it's awesome to have you here. Before we get into the games we've been catching up on, though, Zach, tell me about Japan, man. The home of Nintendo. Did you do anything video game related?
I was gonna say, what do you want to know?
No. He didn't do anything.
All right. I mean, I went to the Nintendo store. I went to the Capcom store. There's a big. I stood next to a giant Monster Hunter statue for you, Jacob.
You didn't bring me back anything, did you?
Nope.
Of course not. Why would
Nope.
you?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Why would I?
It's okay. Next time you're in Japan, just shout
I'm
out.
sure it'll happen again. Yeah. I mean, it was cool, dude. Of course, Japan was very cool. It's the most startling aspect of it is the politeness, for sure, and the
Really?
and the consideration for other human beings that you're simply not going to receive here in the United States.
Like, can you give me an example? Like, what do you mean?
Like if
Konnichiwa.
like if let's say you ask somebody where the bathroom is, like they'll walk you to the bathroom. They don't even have to be employees of the establishment.
Oh, wow.
People are just nice. And there's all the spaces, every public space is clean. Even my first hotel was accidentally in the red light district, and but even that was like there's a few cigarette butts, and that's like the only mess.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy, and I'm sure you've heard like they don't have trash cans outside really.
I did not.
No, but they really don't, because you're just expected to carry your trash until you get to where you need to go.
Wow.
And
Imagine that.
No, you can't. I mean, it's not. That would never happen here.
We can't even get people to keep their trash in their car until they get to their destination.
Yeah, I live on a public road. I'm used to picking up trash on my.
Yeah, dude, that just wouldn't happen in Japan. It's unreal. Or you know what I really love is every bus ride and train ride I took, I didn't have to hear anybody's music or headphones. Nobody was screaming at each other. No one was in the corner peeing in the train like a Chicago would be. It was unreal, dude.
Everyone are just decent people, huh?
Right, you just keep to yourself.
What you're saying is we just need to get out.
Or we can't change the culture, I guess, at this point.
Yeah,
we're all just
we're beyond changing anything here, man.
Yeah, we're just all dicks to each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you want to see change in the world, it starts with you.
Sure, I don't litter.
I carry my trash with me to my destination and home again, and to another destination, and it never leaves my car.
Jacob rocking that 2003 dumpster SV. That's what his car's called.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The DMV. Oh, that works.
But the food is delicious and cheap, so that's great. That was a big boon. Got $3 bowls of ramen. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
And
That's
80-cent pieces of sushi.
So you didn't go to the museum, the Nintendo Museum, I assume?
No, well, that was like you had to like win the lottery to have the chance to buy a ticket.
No.
And I did not have that. So in terms of video game stuff, I went to the Square Enix Cafe. That was priority number one. I wanted to check that out. Even though they have a rotating theme, like it changes every month. And the month I was there, it was Saga, which is a franchise I've never played. So I didn't know anything that was going on there, but it was still cool. I ate some pancakes that were themed after some lady witches. So if you're familiar with Saga, do you remember those lady twin witches? I sure ate those girls.
Now, are Japanese pancakes similar to American pancakes, or
these ones were? I think they have like stuffed ones that are like stuffed with like a strawberry, kind of like a souffle pancake.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have any of those. So I had a lot of melon soda while I was there.
Melon soda.
Yeah, that was pretty good, man. And then I bought some stuff from the Square Enix store. They didn't have as much near stuff as you would think, Scott. I'm sorry.
I was stoked for you, man.
So I'm sorry to disappoint. It was really just they had one art book that kind of had combined art from all three of the games. So of course I picked that up. But then otherwise it was just statues, which obviously would be distressing to carry. I did get 9S and A2. They have these little shelf sitting statues where they sit on the edge of a shelf.
Oh, okay.
There was a 2B one as well, but obviously I had her, so I need to get. I got her boyfriend and her frenemy.
Nice.
So that was cool. And then I went to the Nintendo store. That was fun. That thing's huge. They have like a whole floor of a building.
Wow.
That was kind of crazy. It had every amiibo ever just fully in stock and print. It was crazy to just see.
I think I sent a screenshot, and CB was like trying to convince you to bring some back. I was
right?
like,
Yeah,
dude.
he wanted me to be get hit on the import customs fees. But like they even had like there's some severely out of print ones here in the States that they just had 16 of. There. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool. A lot of merch I haven't seen before, and Capcom store, Sega store. All the stores. But what I was most impressed by were the retro video game stores, because everything is so well taken care of. You know, every game is just assumed to have all of the manuals and maps and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And every game I bought just had everything. It was in pristine condition, as though like it was never touched.
That's crazy.
Yeah. If
that's a rarity.
Say if you've ever seen the condition of a GameStop here in America, half the games don't even have cases.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. Like what do Americans do with their games?
I don't know, man. That's what, like, I remember loaning games to friends in high school, and they come back just ravaged. And I'm like, how could this possibly have happened in a 1 week period? Whatever.
Like remember rental stores? Like you.
Oh yeah,
The manual would just be like what are you doing with the manual?
Dude, just no consideration. But yeah, that was fun. Bought some some Japanese games. What is really nice to learn is that Switch games are dirt cheap over there, especially Nintendo ones.
Mm-hmm.
Which because they never go down in price over here, right? But like I picked up Metroid Dread for like $10, and it just automatically converts to English.
Wow.
Really?
On the Switch, yeah. Because the Switch,
you've been itching to play that one too.
I know. Now I get to play it for dirt cheap.
That's awesome, dude. I can't wait to hear what you think of that game, because that game is awesome.
Yeah, I'll certainly get to it. But yeah, Japan was a lot of fun. Great time. In case
for you, man.
Anybody's wondering, I did buy Japanese copies of every Red Dead game. So
really?
I got that all taken care of. Don't you worry.
Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Revolver, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Not Revolver. I couldn't find Revolver for the life of me, so I stand corrected. But I did get Undead Nightmare separately.
Okay.
It was just funny that like they're all like 150 yen, so like $1.
Oh, really?
For a complete box game.
Wow.
It's crazy. And it's fun because now I have the maps of, the Wild West America in Japanese, and it's kind of funny to look at.
Which is kind of funny. Yeah, that is pretty. Well, I'm happy for you, man. I'm a little jealous. I'd like to do that at some point. My co-host on the Packers Fan podcast went to Japan in the past 6 months, and he just absolutely loved it. So
I mean, it's swarming with tourists right now. I assume because the combination of the yen being weak and them having been closed for so long, their borders.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there were plenty of gaijin. Yo, shout out to the French, the worst human beings on the planet. Gotta say,
really,
just the most inconsiderate people ever.
So it's not just a stereotype.
I didn't know that was a reputation of the French, but I was, every temple I went to, I was ready to be ashamed for my fellow Americans, right? Because we're not exactly known for our decorum, historically. But most of them were fine. It was really a lot of Europeans were a little uppity, but the French, dude, I couldn't believe it. There was we were like I cut through this kind of small little like village, kind of a traditional village on the way to the temple. Mm-hmm. And there were people in this French tour group. They were opening people's doors to try to take pictures inside of their homes.
Get out!
Just straight up. It is unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
What happened?
No, I mean nothing.
Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
I mean, I didn't stick around to find out, But yeah, it was all I did was walk in front of the camera to try to block the shot. That's all I did. I wasn't trying to get in a fight with some old French woman. Yeah.
Wow, that's just unreal. Well, dude, thanks for the update. That's really, really cool. The game store thing in particular is fascinating to me. Like, why can't we just take care of stuff here? I don't get it, but
right, dude. Yeah, or in like old, boxed Super Famicom games, and they're somehow like 1,200 yen, so like $8 or whatever. You think you get a box Super Nintendo game? A box Final Fantasy for $8 over here?
You can't even get like a box like Mario World, which came with the console, like every console, for less than $30-$40, and that's probably being generous, but it's insane. Well, let's get to some of the games we've been catching up on. We'll talk about new releases a little bit later. But Alan, you are our guest, sir. What have you been playing that's not necessarily brand new?
Well, it's still somewhat new. I've been playing Batman Arkham Shadow on the Quest 3.
Oh, yeah.
So that game has been a lot of fun. It's a little more like Arkham Asylum than the Arkham Origin or Arkham City games, because it's a lot more closed off because it's a VR game, but all the combat's there, all the Predator mode stuff is there. It's pretty cool to play all that in VR and feel like you are Batman.
Does it? So I assume it firmly takes place in the Arkham timeline somewhere, right?
Yeah,
Based
I
on
guess
the name.
I haven't exactly ironed out where in the timeline. Yeah, I guess I'm not entirely sure, but somewhere in there, it all
right,
feels like
understood.
the other games. I guess it's been a couple of years since I've played them, maybe closer to 10 years since I've played some of them.
All
So,
right, fair enough. So,
but
I mean, to put you on the spot.
no, yeah, I guess I could have should have thought of that. But anyways, yeah, it's just really crazy. I don't know. Like I've played VR for 3 years now, and it's just I haven't had that feeling in a while of like taking off the headset and being like, oh yeah, I guess I'm not Batman. I'm just holding this little piece of plastic on my head.
Don't worry, man.
It's
I've come to that sad realization many times myself. Oh, guess I'm not.
Darn, my
Batman.
parents aren't
guess
dead.
I'm not. Yeah. Well, there is that, I guess, but no,
Way to bring it down, Jacob.
But yeah, anyways, that's
is
just
it-
been great. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it as much of a workout as it sounds?
Oh,
I hear
yeah.
people like, yeah.
Yeah, I come out of it very sweaty and very exhausted. It's just because I'd say most of the game is the fist fights, so you're just swinging, and then some of the easier ways to take down people involve the rapid punch succession. So it's just a lot of, and then I don't even realize I'm doing it till I'm out of the headset, and that's the nice thing about VR. It's got to be the easiest way to exercise, because like you don't even realize you're exercising until you get done, and you're like, oh wow.
I remember that from
quick.
Beat Saber.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That and what's the shooting gallery one? Pistol Whip.
Pistol whip, yeah.
Every time I played Pistol Whip, I was like, oh my god, I've been squatting, and like my inner thighs are just like ripped to shreds. It's
Can you tell me about your inner thighs again? Maybe a little slower this time.
my inner thighs.
There we
Are
go.
they sore?
If
Do
not,
you
I'll
need to
make
be
them.
rubbed? Right.
Alan,
Oh my God.
Alan, how does movement work in Arkham Shadow? Is it one of the teleport kind of VR games, or do you have options?
There are options. I honestly don't remember if teleport's in there, because I always just cut straight to joystick because I'm so used to it at this point. The one thing I will say, and they do this thing called the vignette, where it puts a black thing around when you're like black around the outside when you're moving, which is supposed to help with the motion sickness. But if you're not like deep into VR, this game will probably make you motion sick. Like, everything he does in the game when he's in the fights, and he'll like throw a punch and he's halfway across the open area to punch the next guy, that happens just like that in the game. You go to throw a punch at somebody else and you just zoom across the map, or he'll flip over. Thankfully, they don't flip in the game, but you still like jump over people to fight them from behind, and then the zip line when you use your back claw. It's just a lot of movement that is very fast paced.
I think we had CB on the show not too long
Yep.
ago talking about it, and he was talking about like the highlighted spots in the guys that you had to punch to
Yeah.
either do like damage or more damage or
That is the one thing I guess I'm not a huge fan of. I almost felt more like I had control when I was just mashing the X button on the controller, than when I'm told where I have to punch. But I've kind of gotten used to it at this point. But everything else about it is just, pretty crazy. The story is really good too. Like, it's just a well-crafted story, and the environments are great. I almost had to I have another VR game that kind of is my top VR game in my mind that I'll talk about in our other episode here. But
Is it Catastrophic Inversion?
Only $9.99 on the store.
I mean, to be honest, I made
Plug.
that game because I wanted to play it more than anything. So, but no, different VR game that I did not make.
All right. So this is a
but-
tease for an
but
upcoming
anyways, this
bonus
is-
episode.
Yeah, for the Patreon episode. But yeah, it's I had to hop back into that game because I had to convince myself that game was still my favorite VR game and not this
Okay.
one because it's just so good.
Who's the main villain in this one?
It's so far so a little combo of the Rat King, and
Okay.
I don't know if the Rat King is I'm not big into the comics, so I don't know if the Rat King is a recurring character or not. But and then Maroni, right? Falcon Maroni.
Oh yeah, sure.
Am I remembering his name right? Anyways, he's
mean,
he's kind of been the big boss. A lot of the game takes place in Blackgate Prison, and you are basically kind of working your way up to get to him to try and get information about this Rat King.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Sounds awesome.
that's-
CB has it, and so I could probably go play it whenever I want to. I just haven't had time to go over and do that, so I need to do that.
Yeah.
Now this
Crank
is
the
this
comfort settings.
the developer of this is Camouflage, right? The same people that did Iron Man VR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wasn't
So
paying
they're-
attention to the developer either. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks for coming on, Alan.
I have a I have a friend who has Iron Man VR, and he really speaks highly of that, but I haven't gotten a chance to try that one yet.
All right.
But yeah,
They seem to be on a hot streak.
that's my VR game that I've been playing. I've also been playing Red Dead Redemption 2, which is
tell
my
me about
first
this.
playthrough of this.
Really?
So I am. Where am I right now? I've gotten to Rhodes, so I'm right in the middle of all the Braithwaite and the Gray
Yeah.
drama. This game is, I mean, you've talked about it endlessly, I think, on the show as well. This game is great. It's relaxing, and it's exciting, and I'm there for all of it. You know, just different things all the time, something new every day that I play it.
Yeah.
I love also the just the way Arthur can jump from burning down somebody's entire crops and killing like most of their hired hands, and then some kid's like, hey, I got a love letter to deliver, can you deliver this love letter for me? And he's like, all right. And
Yeah.
or gets involved in the women's suffrage movement just out of
He does.
just
He does
such
that.
a such a dynamic character.
Accidentally becomes an ally.
But
Yeah.
I
Oh, I'm
guess
glad,
not
I'm
a-
glad you're finally playing it, man. Yeah. You know,
yeah,
better.
I played a little bit of the first one. I didn't really get that much into it, but I just hopped into the second one because I got it on. So I'm on PC now for the most part, and the first one only just now came out on PC. So
Right, for like the same price as the sequel,
yeah,
which I'm sure looks weird on the Steam store.
but not a lot can be said that hasn't already been said about it. But I'm enjoying it a lot.
I mean, I'm glad.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I'm glad you're getting lost in the cowboy life.
Yeah,
I wore speaking of Japan.
Cowboys.
Yeah, I wore my cowboy hat in Japan a lot, and that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I saw a picture you sent. You actually found like an Old West.
Yeah,
Saloon
Yeah,
in
that
Japan.
guy was stoked to see me.
Really?
Yeah, he was asking all kinds of questions. It was pretty cool. Well, when I
hilarious.
walked in there, I found a Western cafe for listeners who aren't aware in Japan. Went out of my way to get there, but when I walked in, the old guy who owned it was asleep, so I kind of had to like wake him up. And I was just thinking,
Can I have a drink, please?
it's just like straight out of a Western. I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit. But I was just thinking about like in his world, where he's obviously obsessed with Western stuff enough to make a cafe in Japan, and then he gets woken up and there's just like an American dude in a cowboy hat in front of him. That's got to be pretty jarring.
He probably thinks he's still dreaming.
that's what I was thinking.
How many gallon that hat?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah,
Wow. Wow.
I'm glad I missed whatever the hell that was then.
Well, did you get any time to play any games? Catch up on anything while you were gone?
Well, yeah, I brought a whole handful of Switch games because I thought, oh, this will be perfect for resting at the hotel. And I think I played like an hour of combined video games while I was over there.
Good for you, man.
Because I just kept being tired. What I most played over there, I played Dragon Quest XI as I continue to inch through that game. Nothing really new to report there. And then I played this game Rustler, which is
Like GTA with cowboys.
it's GTA. It's medieval GTA.
Yeah. Oh, medieval. My bad.
Yeah. So, what's fun about it? So it's like a top-down GTA. Like think about GTA 1 or 2.
Yeah, like the old school ones. Yeah.
The old school ones, and you're committing acts of Grand Theft Horse. But what's fun about it so far is it's got like a total. It still has kind of a GTA hip hop attitude. That you might think of like a GTA 3 or something. Like, for instance, there are people just beatboxing in the street, or when you get chased by the cops, they jump on their horses and then their horses' heads just start flashing red and blue.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So it's just totally ridiculous, but it's a great deal of fun. And when you get to like the big city, it's still like modeled like a modern city with, it's like on city blocks and it has pedestrian crosswalks and stuff. It's just totally does not take itself seriously at all, and has been a lot of fun because of it.
Sounds like one dev wanted to make GTA and the other dev wanted to make a medieval game, and they just had to compromise.
Yeah, right. But whatever they landed on worked.
I just want to hear some rap lyrics that somehow rhyme ye old.
Yeah. The game opens with a rap song.
Get out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the game actually opens with like an insane live action short film. But then it over the opening credits is a medieval rap song.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty.
Is
cool.
It fun though? Like,
yeah, it's fun. It's a little jank. For sure, you're getting like caught up on geometry a little more than I would like when you're like running through the woods and stuff.
Yeah,
and it could be part of the camera's fault. Like you don't see you're on a stump or something, but it happens often enough to be frustrating. But outside of that, and the combat's a little weak, but that as it was in top-down GTA games, right? Like, but otherwise, it has been a lot of fun. A lot of surprising mission variety, and it doesn't seem like it's trying to overstay its welcome either. You're just trying to con your way into the Royal Tournament by faking some nobility papers, because if you win the tournament, you get to hook up with the princess, and who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, dude. So, that sounds like something I need to play.
Dude,
is it like an early access one, or is it a
no? This is a real deal game that I have on the Switch.
I was hoping when you said jank that maybe it was like they were still working on it.
No, I don't think it's not jank you can't overcome, Scott.
Gotcha.
It's perfectly good jank.
Perfectly good jank. Kind of like a Euro jank game where you're just like, oh, this is just part of it.
Jank included.
That's right. Yes, now featuring more jank than ever.
It's a feature.
That's right. But then when I landed, it was just in time for the PS5 re-release of Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. And that's what I've really been tearing into, because I'm very excited for the Soul Reaver remasters. But yeah, Blood Omen's the only one I have beaten before. But I decided to replay it. And Scott, I hate to go right for you, but I remember this game as basically being Zelda with a vampire. This game's pretty much Zelda with a vampire. There are 9 MacGuffins you have to collect. You have to go to different individual areas where you'll get a new ability inside of each one, and that'll help you get through some of the puzzles in that area. And at the end, you fight a boss, and then you get a little thing you got to take back to the temple.
Yeah, you sold me.
Well, in this instance, it's the Pillars of Nosgoth. But no, I'm really enjoying the game. I love how much voice acting there is for the PS1. It's just way more than you expect.
Yeah.
And the writing's a little more complex. Has a higher vocabulary than you expect from PS1.
Sounds awesome, dude. I've got a free day tomorrow. Tomorrow I actually have off from work, and I have purposely made sure that I do not have anything going on so that I can, enjoy some gaming. I got to take my car to the thing, but maybe I will fire that one up after I finish up another game we're going to be talking about, because that sounds really good. I've never played it. It's a game I've just never got around to before. So, Jake, what about you, man? How's Farm Simulator going? You still tilling those crops?
Oh yeah, just tilling away. Well, I've been playing a couple of games on and off. I went back to Stationeers for a little bit. I'm still playing Sulfur, and I'm still playing Farm Simulator. Kind of whatever fits my mood at that point. I had a dream about some kind of system to build in Stationeer, and then I had to
Get
give it a
out.
try. So I woke up, turned on Stationeer, built what I had like dreamt of, and put it together, and it worked. And it only blew up 3 times. So that was nice, but that was completely my fault. There was condensation happening in the pipes, and then one of the pipes broke, and it leaked some vaporous fumes into the air, which then hit some fire and blew up my entire pipe structure. So that was a rollback. I'm just doing runs in Sulfur, nothing new really there. Farm Simulator, just kind of plugging away, just helping the other farmers on the map and earning money and buying bigger and better things, trying to save up so I can get a bigger and better loan to buy some more land so I can keep going there. But the big thing that I've been doing so far for the last like 3 hours is Astrobot.
Yes.
I finally decided to bite the bullet. I turned on my PlayStation and I bought Astrobot. And
Was that today? Did you start it today?
that was just today.
Okay.
I think that was around 2. I have not been able to put the controller down, and I cannot wait to get back to it. And I have not felt this excited to get back to a video game since forever. Yes, I've been excited to buy games. I've had fun while playing games. I've enjoyed myself while playing games, but literally I have not felt the level of joy while playing a game as I do Astrobot. It is nuts.
He's been texting me all afternoon, just the word "dude" over and over and over again.
That is
And,
the Astrobot experience.
He said he almost
it is.
cried with the bonus level after the first Galaxy.
Oh yeah, man.
It's yeah. Oh, I did not expect that level of that. I wasn't expecting that level at all. And then I don't know. Do we talk about this? Is it long enough? We can do spoilers.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
When you
But it is
change characters, and start running around and doing what the level wants you to do. I
Right.
was immediately like, I have to go back and play everything. I need to go back and I need to finish off these other games.
Well, and that's a nice thing about that game is each level is so bite-sized that even if you do miss something, it takes you like 5 minutes to go back and do it.
Not
Like,
that
it's
I want to
just-
fire up the PS1 and play through
Oh.
all of the old games.
Gotcha. And see, I never played that game that you're referring to. So like it didn't. It was fun for me, but I didn't have the nostalgia that you and Zach did. The ones later on did.
I got done with that level and it like opened up like the rail system to like the higher up area to go get the final robot.
Yeah.
And I was like grinding up there and I was like, I wonder if this is who it's going to be. And then it was who it was. And I was like, yes, I was so excited.
I love that you're so happy about it, man. It's just I love it when games do that.
I'm
make
going to
you
have to kill
smile.
that game. Like everything about that game is going to have to be completed.
It's
Oh,
first
yeah.
platinum I've gotten in a while.
Before I move on to anything else, that game is going to be 100%ed.
You'll have it done by tomorrow. it's only like a 15-hour platinum, I would guess. But I finished a game this week as well. If you guys remember me talking about Shadows of the Damned, hella remastered.
Only for
I
the last
finished that.
3 weeks.
Yeah, well, it takes me a little longer.
You finished off your Big Johnson?
Yes, I finished it off. That game is so... I'm so glad that game exists. It is just so hilariously... It's just hilarious. And
You've been
it's
playing with
even
your
worse...
boner?
It's even worse than I remember it being. I did not remember that... is it Maria? What's her name? The girl's name?
Sure. Let's say
His
Maria.
Angel.
Yeah.
He calls her my angel in Spanish. Angel. She's like naked through like dream sequences and stuff, and I didn't remember that being a thing at all. There's little like pachinko machines, like you shoot these bombs down like a Plinko style game to get. It's just nuts stuff that happens in this game. And I didn't remember like the twist at the end. It's like it was like playing it for the first time. There was a pretty fun twist at the end where they do like the credits start rolling and then wretched scratch and then no, we're not done yet. And I don't know, it was kind of cool. I miss these linear just play for a weekend games. Like and it was $25. That was $25 well spent. So that, and I played one other. If you remember, I know you weren't there, Zach, but at R2V2, one of the bands that we had played a theme song from this game, and Nintendo recently released their their online app, their music app, which comes with your Nintendo Switch Online membership.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing that randomly, and songs from this game were playing on that as well. So I just got the itch. I fired up on Nintendo Switch Online Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, which, Zach, if you remember, we talked about on one of our Desert Island episodes.
I do.
And that game is still good. That game is so hard. Like, it's not like impossible. Obviously, I've beaten it, but it's just, you know how most Mario games, that first world is just kind of a cakewalk? There's not really a whole lot difficulty. That game does not. That game steps on the gas like after like the third level and just keeps going. So, got through like the first world. Obviously, 100% of everything. I think I'm gonna keep going. I can't not do it, man. It's just so rewarding. The little noise it makes when you get 100% is so good. And I don't know if this will make sense to you, but you know how some games, if there are things to collect, if you get them on one run and then you go through a second run, as long as you get everything else, you're fine, right? I forgot that Super Mario World 2 makes you get it on each run. So you have to go get every flower and every red coin and every star on one run. You can't like do one on one run and then go back and clean up.
So you have to be perfect.
You have to be perfect in order to get the 100%, which is it's hard, but it's kind of refreshing. Like the game is really not letting up. So I wish they would tone down Baby Mario's crying a bit. That is more annoying than I remember, but the game is still super fun. So that is what I've been catching up on. Let's go ahead now, guys, and jump into the week's news. Couple new trailers to mention. First off, this game that I had to talk about, Ruffy in the Riverside. It's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC in the first quarter of 2025. Another one called Don't Wake the Beast. I believe that was shared by Michael Bonovich. It's like a roguelike Zelda game, which looks kind of rad. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the film, got a new trailer. It's coming this Christmas. Learned this week that Xbox avatars are no longer a thing on Xbox One and Series consoles. Sony is developing a PS5 portable system. Naughty Dog's next film officially cast a familiar voice. And World of Warcraft celebrates its 20th anniversary. And lastly, PlayStation also celebrates 30 years of gaming. Alan, as our guest, we're going to give you first crack at the story you would like to talk about to kick things off.
Ooh, yeah, I think so. I'm not a PlayStation guy, but this PS5 portable potentially sounds pretty cool. I'm yeah, I just feel like it's really cool. I also like to primarily look at or play on the big screen as I think most of us do. But just having that option and take it somewhere and be able to play wherever. They already kind of have that, but not really yet. Having a Steam Deck competitor would be cool.
Mm-hmm. This was reported by Bloomberg. This is where the information came from. The goal, obviously, here is to compete, like you said, with the Steam Deck and the name of the Switch successor is going to be. They did admit that this is years away from release, and it might not ever release at all. But if it does, it would not require a PS5 to play games on it, which is huge. That's kind of like, with the Switch, it's a 2-for-1 thing, right? You can play it on the TV or carry it with you. But the issue with all the other what PlayStation did before was, you had to have it tethered to your PS5. You were more or less streaming from your PS5, and the Portal does the same thing. But this is really fascinating, like Alan said, because this is the last time that Sony released a handheld was back in 2011 when they put out the Vita in Japan. So this could be interesting. What do you think, Zach? Is this ever going to see the light of day, or is this just, hey, they're just toying with it?
I'm surprised they went for a PS5 portable instead of just a PS4, because I feel like because I feel like a PS4 would be, the equivalent hardware, right, would be cheaper, and you could probably get it out sooner.
That's a good point.
Than a few
I thought you were
years.
making a joke because everything on PS5 also plays on PS4.
That is funny. There's no argument there. But because a Switch successor is most likely going to be on the power of a PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah,
because they're behind. So it just feels like it would be smart, because I would certainly buy one. If it honors all of my digital purchases, and now I've got a full library that I can just take wherever I want to go, earning trophies on the go and all that. That sounds great. I'd be on board for that. But the fact that this is supposed to be PS5, level specs makes you think that A, it's going to be expensive, and B, it's probably going to be heavier and bulkier than I would want it.
Interesting. Jake, you got anything to add?
It's going to be the size of a box of cereal, and you're just going to have like
Buick?
2 controllers on either side of it, and you're going to have to like lug it out and set it in your lap and hold on to it with like 4 or 5 hands, like strap it to your waist or something because it's going to be so heavy. But I mean, I'm excited. When I was younger, I loved my PSP. I never got a PS Vita because I didn't need one because I was still playing my PSP at the time. And then when the 4 and stuff came out, I didn't need to be portable anymore. I just played the 4. And there wasn't any reason for me to go back to the Vita or anything else. They even had a phone for however long for portable players, but
the Xperia.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, it like
I knew
folded
somebody
out
that
and
had
then it
that.
was little.
Had Final Fantasy 7 on it. I remember that.
Of course it did. Of course it
Of
did.
course, yeah.
But if it's going to be spec'd out to play PS5 games, I'm assuming it's going to be rather bulky or either get hot or not last as long. But
I think that them saying that this is going to be a PS5 handheld is hilarious because, number one, if this thing is 2 years away or more, multiple years away, they're already going to be looking at PS6. So that, to me, tells me that this is never going to happen. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to brand it a PS... Well, unless the PS6 is just leaps and bounds and now the technology is behind, and you know what I mean?
Right.
But they're developing it now.
Yeah,
So-
well, the PS5 is already bigger than any other video game console known to man.
Mhm.
But they're gonna shrink that thing down. Will it be the shape of a router as well?
I was going to say, is it going to have a pop
A little
collar?
pop collar on the console.
they made fun of the
less-
Xbox for being that big.
How ugly?
The
can you
original
make it?
Xbox.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I wonder how much less power it would need if it's just doing like 720 on a screen instead of the 4K they.
Your handheld
Bring it up.
8K display.
Hey, now, get ahead of ourselves.
OLED.
The screen is 16 inches big.
No, I mean that's an interesting perspective, Alan. If they could shrink it down by lowering the resolution. But I also don't know. I assume every game now is made expecting a 1080p resolution screen, right, for PS4 and onward. So what are they going to do? Are they going to de-res it?
Yeah, that'd
I don't
be
know. Probably
be tough for the UI. Yeah.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, I would certainly want one of these. Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens if it happens, because yeah.
I own a lot of PlayStation games. Be nice.
Well, that's the thing is, if you could do like what you're doing, like you're talking about playing Blood Omen, right?
Right.
Like being able to take that on the go would be rad.
Yeah, especially if they have some kind of Steam Deck situation where they're cloud saving the whole time and it works between your different units. That would be incredible. I would love that, because I love doing that with the Vita with certain games, but you always had to go through like the transfer process every time you went from one to the other. If it was seamless, oh man, I'd be all over that.
That would be cool.
And they obviously have interest in portability, because then they added the streaming to the PlayStation Portal. So they're obviously interested in this ground, I think.
It'd be interesting to see what happens. But Jake, you're up, man. What story would you like to talk about?
Don't Wake the Beast. Is that like Don't Wake the Daddy from back in the day? Don't Wake Daddy?
Don't Wake the Daddy.
Don't Wake
The
Daddy?
board game?
Yeah. Like you're
It kind of
creeping
is,
around.
actually, because it's like did you watch the trailer?
I did not. I missed this little group here.
It's pretty much what I talked about. Like, it's a roguelike, but it's got that overhead Zelda kind of deal, and you're collecting items and coins and all this kind of stuff. But the whole premise is that there's a giant dragon that you have to sneak your way through without waking the dragon. So there'll be like
You're trying to
something will
steal
wake
its
him
hoard.
up. Yeah, you're trying to steal like all his treasure. Like I can't think of the character from what's the Lord of the
Smaug.
Rings? Smaug. There you go. But they're like he'll wake up, and so you have to like a cone of vision will pop up from him, so you got to make sure you're hidden behind something he doesn't see you. It looks kind of cool. Well, while you're talking about that game, can I talk about Ruffy in the Riverside? Because I think this is one of the most unique things I've seen in a while. Which on the surface it just looks like a standard 3D platformer, but the art style on this thing is what kind of blew me away. It looks like there was another one that came out a while ago. It was like a girl that had like a dragon in her name or something like that. But it's almost like Paper Mario characters kind of, but it's moving around in a 3D environment as a platformer.
Yeah.
It just looked so original. Like I wanted to play it right now. Like I am definitely going to keep my eye on that one for sure.
I think it looks really cool. Very unique.
Yeah.
Very unique.
That mechanic where sorry.
No, please.
So that mechanic where you can just change anything, and I feel like I've seen that somewhere and that it was really fun. But where you can, you take the waterfall and you take the rock and turn the waterfall into rock or whatever that just looks cool. Like that I like games where you have to find a unique way to solve puzzles and that it's not like a fixed puzzle, right? It's like you have to judge from the environment.
Yeah.
It looks like what I thought Pucky Squire was going to evolve into.
Yeah. That's a really good way to say it, because I think that's what we all wanted, right?
Well, that's what you would assume based on the entry level puzzles. Like, oh, we must evolve into that, but then it never evolved.
It was just the same puzzles over and over again instead.
Well, we're talking about trailers, guys. You excited about Sonic the Hedgehog 3? Dude, this trailer was insane.
I think it's so weird that after this is the third movie and they finally have Sonic in the movie. It's just weird to me.
Are you saying
Sonic
Shadow
was in all
is
the movies?
That was for Kevin.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I was quite mystified. But Shadow is all over this trailer, and he's got a gun this time.
Yeah, they actually gave him a gun. I was kind of surprised.
Dude. He was strapped. He's got a piece, and he's riding a motorcycle. Hell yeah, dude! I'm so excited.
I am shocked at how good Keanu Reeves' voice matches up with a freaking animated.
Dude, I couldn't believe it because Keanu, God bless him, not a great actor.
Yeah,
but dude, I think he's killing it as Shadow.
I do too.
He's perfect for Shadow. I couldn't believe it. When he was cast, my initial thought was just like, oh, of course, yeah, why wouldn't you, right? He's in there, everybody loves Keanu. But dude, now he's gonna be the hedgehog who's helping destroy the moon. Can't wait.
You know what I really, really hope? This is a total pipe dream. It'll probably not happen. But I really want, at some point in the movie, I want Shadow the Hedgehog to use the phrase, "No, you're breathtaking." I just want that to be like 4 people will get that, but I think it would just be so amazing if it somehow he points at somebody and says,
Maria flashback, or was it Maria, the girl?
Yes, yeah, Maria.
Yeah. But the studio that does it seems to be pretty good with all the memes and stuff. They add those and throw them in there every now and then. So maybe we'll see some Shadow memes.
Surely he will say "whoa" at some point.
It's got to. But I mean, I feel like that one's been done.
Right.
Like that's been done. That's been done enough. So anyway, Zach, let's move on. What do you want to talk about?
Well, we just talked about Shadow. It's all downhill from there. It's nice that PlayStation is acknowledging that it has an anniversary to celebrate. Seems a little late, but they had a little web page with a bunch of facts about the consoles. Going back from 1994 to today.
Mm-hmm.
Which they confirmed finally that the PS2 has sold 160 million units, so it continues to be the best-selling console ever. But the Switch is not too far behind.
8 million.
Was that kind of
copies.
funny that they decided to announce that right as the Switch is getting close? Like, hey guys, don't forget we're still in the lead.
Right. Well, I think that you gotta get that last shot in before, because all the Switch really probably needs to do is do a price cut for the first time ever. And then we could probably reach it.
Probably true.
Yeah.
I mean, this feels like this should have been a marketing thing with Astrobot. But somehow, I mean, Astrobot's doing well. It's doing well on its own, so I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. But
actually, it's weird because I had to go to to get the link for this. I had to go to their website and go to the search bar and type in history. And then it gave me a link to the actual history page. In all of their little drop-down menus, there's no history things. So unless you knew this was there, you would never know it was there. There's no inclination that they're actually celebrating the 30-year anniversary or have any of this history on their website.
Interesting. So how did you know to look for it? Did you see an article somewhere?
While reading Naughty Dog's link, and in the side there was a Sony finally released the numbers for the PS2, and I clicked on it, and it took me to the website. So
maybe this kind of mismanagement is why Shuhei Yoshida is leaving the company.
Ooh, nice segue.
News.
Nice segue.
If you call out the segue, it's no longer a good segue, Jacob. You ruined it.
But yeah, he's
Tell
leaving
that to
after
every
30.
YouTuber.
Even after 31 years, man, he did a lot of good stuff. A lot of indie relations and signing of games with Shuhei.
Well, and the good news is that he's apparently said that he's not leaving the industry. He's just he wants to still be involved. He's just leaving PlayStation. But heck of a run. Where do you go from there? Like what do you do?
Hopefully,
I don't mean
Tencent.
Hopefully not. Yeah. But yeah, interesting. I want to mention. Boy, there's a couple of good ones here, but I just want to. This is such a non-story, but I just thought it was so interesting. This Xbox Avatar thing, because I didn't even know that you could use those avatars on current Xbox consoles. Did you guys?
I did. I recently learned this like a month ago.
I had no clue. Absolutely no idea.
It's so buried.
It must be, because I would have put it on there if it was. I loved my avatar I had from the 360 era. I think I had a.
Those ones will still be there.
Huh?
Those ones will still be there.
On the 360, yes, they'll still
Yeah.
be there. But like my old avatar was holding like a giant Q-tip, just because I thought that was random and awesome. It was a Monkey Island reference. Remember like when they did that whole thing where like, hey, your avatar can look at the bottom of his feet when they did the Connect, and like those were a big deal back then. I paid money for stuff for my avatar.
Yeah, dude, I paid money to dress up as Sam Fisher.
Yeah, and like why shut it down? Like, is it costing money to keep it there? Because of low engagement. Nobody knows about it, dude.
Right.
I feel if they got the word out there and they reminded everybody, you've got an avatar, go get it. I'm gonna go look, because it's not gonna be killed until what, January 9th?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do it, and I'm hoping everybody else will do the same, and maybe Xbox will go, maybe we should keep this here, because I would have been using it this whole time. I just had to throw that in there.
No.
Am I alone?
Yes.
Well,
You don't own an Xbox. Shut up.
So Jacob, the Xbox 360 era avatars are still going to be there? Is that what you're saying? Those are the ones that matters anyway.
That's actually.
I mean, it's the same one, right? It would be carrying over from the other one, I would assume.
No, they did a redesign avatars for the Xbox One era.
Oh, okay.
It was
So
like
maybe I'm now less excited.
It was like a different art style and stuff. No, but your 360 one is still on your current console.
Right? Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So you can still hang out.
I just rarely play that. Is kind of my point.
No, I'm saying on your Xbox Series X, you can boot up the Avatar app and you can choose to look at your Xbox 360 avatar.
Even after this thing is over?
Even after this thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're called something special after this.
So because they did a redesigned new art style version of avatars, and that's what's going away.
Okay.
So your
I
Q-tip
gotcha.
should still be intact.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
They're the Xbox original avatars from the 360 is what they're going to be called now. Well, Xbox original avatars. They're from the 360, but those ones are going to stay, and that's what they're going to be called from now on.
Gotcha. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Let's go ahead and move on. I'd like to remind everybody about Patreon. We are independently funded, and that's not entirely true. You guys help keep the Gaming Outsider alive by contributing as a patron. And Alan, you are one of our newest members. Thank you for contributing, dude. That's really awesome of you. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
We've got some new episodes that you can check out. Alan is actually, when we're done here, we're going to record a Desert Island episode with Alan. He's got 5 of his favorite games of all time and his 5 games he would choose if he were stranded on a desert island. We're looking forward to chatting with him about that. You can also hear, for our higher tier patrons, you can hear our first Married to the Mic episode with my wife, Stephanie Clark, came and talked about video games with us. Highly recommend you check that out. And Zach, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to do one with your significant other, correct?
That's right, with my wife, as it turns out.
Very cool.
She's
That's gonna be
awesome.
married.
Yeah.
She's married to the mic.
She is. That's awesome.
I'm the mic.
And I guess I can tell Alan too. I usually message this to all of our new subscribers, and I didn't because I knew you were going to be on the show. But we have a catalog of all of our past episodes because the Patreon app is not really great about being able to find old stuff. So we've cataloged all of those episodes in a post on our website, so you can kind of go through and see things a little bit easier if you want to check out some back stuff.
Alright.
There is we actually made it posted it in bold. I put a picture and everything on the far right side of the main page, so you can find it there quite easily. But
You did tell me
if
that,
you
though.
did I? Okay, I'm scatterbrained. But if you like this show and would like to help keep things alive and maybe support us, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. Any subscriber gets access to the weekly episodes a day early. And if you do it at $3 or $5 tier, you can also get some bonus content from us, like I mentioned above. So again, patreon.com/thegocast. Let's go ahead now and talk about the new games that we've been playing. Zach, I am so excited. I don't have to read the new releases.
Is
Can
it
you let us know what's going on?
is it hard for you?
You just do it so much better than I do. I feel like I rush through it.
No. Well, I'll see what I can do with this cold I'm having.
Would you like me to read it? Save
No,
your
no,
voice?
no. I got it. Hey, you back up. Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, the remaster from a few months ago, is releasing on last gen consoles with a PS4 and Xbox One release on December 2nd. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes was a hit puzzle game from a earlier this year. That's going to PS5 and PS4 on December 3rd. That game is supposed to be like a serious puzzle, like taking notes kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete is a super cool thing Nintendo's doing, where they're taking the live service Animal Crossing game and letting you buy a forever version of it. It's coming to iOS and Android December 3rd. Diesel Legacy The Brazen Age comes to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, Switch, and PC December 3rd. The Thaumaturge is a cool-looking CRPG coming to PS5 and Xbox Series consoles December 4th. Entropy Survivors is I forget what it is, not gonna lie to you. Coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC December 4th.
I believe it's I can't remember the name we came up with. It's a
RBR.
Vampire Survivors.
Yeah,
like.
that's
Oh, no, it was
RBR.
RBR.
Yeah, I guess
It's
I could.
It's a bullet hell.
I
Even though
couldn't
they call it a bullet haven in the
Oh yeah,
in the
Bullet
trailer.
Heaven. I hate that seems to
but
be what's the one that's catching on as Bullet Heaven, and I hate it. It's terrible.
Bullet Haven. But that one is based off of the universe of On the Shoulders of Giants was another like Overwatch based kind of game
Oh,
where you're like team members or whatever, and it's characters from that game in a different version game.
all right, understood. UFL football game coming to PS5 and Xbox Series consoles December 5th. Infinity Nikki, the free-to-play dress-up game, is coming to PS5, PS4, PC, iOS, and Android on December 5th. Fantasia Neo Dimension is the Apple Arcade game from the creator of Final Fantasy and the composer of Final Fantasy. Finally releasing on proper consoles. That comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC December 5th. Highway Police Simulator is exactly what it sounds like. That comes to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC December 5th. Railroads Online, you can build railroads with your buddies. Coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC December 5th. Heaven Seeker, the Savior of This Cruel World. Looks fine, but I really just wanted to say the title because it's a goofy title. Coming to PS5, PS4, and Switch December 5th. And then Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic comes to the Switch on December 5th. That is Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2 combined, because Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 is already on the Switch. Scott, it's been so long. Do you still play video games?
I do. I played more video
No.
games that you've been gone than I have in a while. I don't know how I made the time.
Oh,
but
so I'm what's dragging you down.
No, not at all.
Of this list, though, what's calling out to you?
Well, I feel bad saying it because the ones I'm interested in are ones that aren't brand new games. They've existed already. Like
So Lollipop.
no, actually, not that one. Which is the same developer, right? That's Grasshopper as well.
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
They made Shadows of the Dam. So you'd think I was all about playing that game when it released, and I played about an hour of it, and I felt bad, and I didn't really like it.
Felt bad, like pervy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I got that achievement. I'll admit it. I got that achievement.
Right. Is it the first achievement you got? Because that would be pretty funny.
It was very early on. Yeah. It was very early on. No, the Fantasia Neo Dimension. I've heard you talk about that one, and I just want to see it. I want to play it and see it, obviously. That one. And I have heard Lorelei and the Laser Eyes being talked about in Game of the Year discussions already. And I don't know very much about it, but I just have to see what it's all about. So those are the two I'm going to say.
All right. What about you, Alan? What game on this list is calling out to you?
Yeah, I definitely feel sorry. I feel like Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. That one looks a lot like the game. So I've beaten all the Room games on mobile, you know.
Oh yeah.
And this feels like very much up that same alley. There's some games that I've actually played that are much more similar looking to this one. But yeah, I love that puzzle escape roomy kind of game. It's just a good, somewhat relaxing thing, but at the same time, you know, just make you think.
All right, you're a brainy guy, Alan.
Yeah, well, I do like my puzzles.
Yeah.
He did make a video game.
That's what I'm saying.
Make a video game, yeah.
Smarter than any of us.
That's the biggest puzzle. That's the funnest thing to do.
Why did I do it?
Make a game.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Outside of that, I mean, honestly, I'm not the target audience for this, but Infinity Nikki does look pretty fun. I don't know, just an open world like flying around. I don't know. It'd probably get boring quick, but for me at least. But it does look absolutely beautiful. And I like open worlds. Probably not coming back to New Horizon or Animal Crossing here. I did play a lot of Pocket Camp, and I do like that they are dropping the kind of scummy feeling, free to play stuff and making it just a one-time purchase. That's really cool of them. But
that's pretty nice. What about you, Jacob? What's standing out on the list this week?
So I'm not going to play it, but Highway Police Simulator brings back memories to me. On the PlayStation 1, there was the world's most dangerous police chases.
Hell yeah.
I loved playing that game as a kid, and watching that was what I got. But actually, watching the trailer of that made me feel really bad because it just looked like crap. But that was just me. I was being overly dramatic with the graphics of that game. But I don't know. Nothing really stands out on this list for me. Well, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I played those games as a kid. I might check that out. But I already have, I think, those games somewhere on a CD.
Yeah. Those games were fun.
Oh, I love those games.
Yeah. As for me, Fantasia Neo Dimension is certainly something I will get to finally finish. But I was really quite taken with The Thaumaturge. Yeah, it takes place in 1905 Warsaw. That's a very unique setting for a turn-based RPG, and you're like investigating people for the demons that are haunting them, and then it also you can collect the demons for your own combat, and then it has some turn-based combat, which you don't often see outside of Japanese games these days. So I don't know. It looked really compelling all over. I know it came out on PC earlier this year, but I guess I didn't pay enough attention to it because I think this looks really great. And I
think Alyssa reviewed that for us, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's true. Somebody did.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to play that.
Very cool.
All right. So moving on from there. Zack, you've been playing a new game. Kong Survival Instincts.
I'm not the only one, and close. It's Survivor Instinct.
Oh, my bad.
I just want to get the name right for the Kong folks out there.
Kong Survival Instincts.
So and I've been playing it as well.
Yeah.
Zack, Scott, you too. Great.
Yes, I have been playing Kong Survivor Instinct on PS5.
You finished it, right?
I did beat it, yeah. And frustratingly...
Scott, you're still booting up?
No, I put in a good 2-3 hours.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, dude, I do want to say bug trophy, unacceptable. I have every log in the game. It did not give me the trophy for collecting every log, which means I can't get that, or the trophy for getting every upgrade / every log. So I got screwed out of the platinum. I'm not happy about it. You know, I hate to start with a negative, but it's not cool, man. I did everything. I want my credit. All right.
I don't blame you, man.
I want my virtual applause. But outside of that, hey, this game's pretty fun.
Good.
I am liking it as well. I saw the trailer and it was like, I want to play that game. It looks super fun. And then I heard people talking about it and read some reviews, and people were not being very nice about it. They're like, it's okay, it's fine. But I'm finding it awesome.
Yeah, I like it. I like it quite a bit.
I mean, what's the point of this game?
Surviving through instinct.
From Kong.
Right. Kong makes an appearance.
Kong's instinct.
Kong.
You play as a dad. I believe his name is David, and he's looking for his daughter. I don't remember her name. And but you're looking through a destroyed city as Kong is kind of fighting some titans in the background, and you're dead set on finding your daughter. So you have to go through this city as it's being fought around you to find your daughter. And that's the setup of the game. And I think that's a really clever way to make a game based on a kaijus.
I agree, and this is coming from someone that doesn't know much about the Kong universe, like all the other titans that you're fighting. I'm sure people are geeking out about it. From my perspective, they're just other giant monsters that are just cool. But the gameplay is interesting because, and we talked about this a little bit over text, Zack, but I think we both were kind of expecting an open world gear-gated game where you were going back and forth quite a bit. But the way that this game is structured is, you enter a level and you will do some backtracking in those individual levels, but you never really go back all the way back, or at least as far as I am, I'm not going all the way back to the beginning. But the gameplay itself feels, I don't know if you guys have ever played games like Flashback or Out of This World. Even like early Flashback and Out of This World felt like extensions of the original Prince of Persia,
right?
Like the 2D kind of deal.
Cinematic platformers.
Yeah, and that's what this feels like. I mean, just the simple fact that your character doesn't jump 5 times his height like a Mario does. Like when he jumps, he just jumps a little bit. Like, you can't just reach any ledge that you want to. That I found really fascinating. I feel like I'm monopolizing the conversation.
No,
Zack,
I mean, no, that is part of its appeal, right? Like even the items you have that are upgrades, your gear gated items. It's like things like a crowbar, but then you like level it up to a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
There's nothing like outrageous. You're not going to get a jetpack or anything in this game, and it keeps it all grounded, which lends it a different flavor than a lot of other games of this genre. But what Scott said remains true. It is much more kind of level structured, which I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But each of the levels, they kind of get bigger and bigger over the course of the game, and in each of them is sort of a condensed gear gated map. So you're gonna do backtracking within them, but you're rarely are you gonna go like back to an old area.
Yeah.
And when it does do it, and it kind of does it a couple times later, where it'll send you through one level to get to the other kind of thing. But it's always guided in such a way where there's no way to really get lost.
Yeah.
So it's sort of I guess if you call Pokemon Baby's First RPG, this is kind of like Baby's First Gear Gated. It's just like it's a way to kind of introduce you to those concepts, I think.
Yeah, but I also don't think it's super easy either. Like I feel like a seasoned gamer isn't going to have an issue with the combat, which might be my weakest thing about this game. I don't really like the combat. It feels a little rock, paper, scissors-y. Like, what's the enemy going to do? I got to do this.
What are you fighting?
That's the other thing that kind of bugs me. It's just other humans that are surviving. There's no context for why they're attacking you other than humans going to human. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they give you, there is some context in the very beginning of the game. You steal a device. Yeah, I guess, I don't know if this is spoil. I don't know. It's a freaking monster game. You steal a device that can mimic the echoes or the sounds monsters make. But you stole it from an organization. That organization is trying to kill you because they want that device back.
Right, but I didn't feel like every enemy encounter I got was one of those people. They just felt like normal people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like often they would yell out a bark of like, there's the thief, or I'll get that thing from him. So I guess I just assumed that they were all part of that mercenary organization.
Maybe you're right.
And not just people in the background. He's got food.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that happening. I could be wrong.
The town is being destroyed around you, and
so that was what the trailer made it look like.
That was other people.
Yeah, because they're not like in any kind of like.
That it was the organization. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I'm misreading it. Then okay. But yeah, like it's
for you MonsterVerse junkies out there, the organization's led by Jonah, who was the bad guy in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Charles Dance's character.
Oh, I did not know that.
I don't know either of those people.
I didn't. CB's out there going, whoa, you know.
But the combat, again, it's 2D. You've got an attack. You've got the ability to grab an enemy and then continue to punch them. You have a parry or a block, which also acts as a parry, and you can duck. So when you're facing off against a single enemy, it's pretty simple. You know, you attack, you block when you need to. If they block your attack, you grab them and keep punching them, right? Where it gets tricky is when you have enemies on either side of you, or an enemy behind an enemy, and the enemy that's further away from you has a gun, and the guy in front of you ducks so that the person behind you can shoot. So now instead of blocking an attack, I actually have to make sure I hit the duck button, you know, and then you got to worry about the guy behind you. It just becomes kind of goofy. It's not super fun. It almost feels like it's thrown in there like, well, we're going to have this game. We have to have some kind of combat in there. And I think I would have liked it better if it just wasn't there at all. I
don't mind the combat in theory of like the you know, kind of like, excuse me, I'm going to cough. Sorry. I was really trying not. I'm dying, Jake.
Everyone has got the little bit of a cough going on.
That's true. I don't mind the combat in theory or on paper because the idea feels like you're, you know, handling this group where you're like dodging bullets and, you know, grabbing one guy, throwing him into the other, parrying this dude over here. But it all feels so robotic and clunky in the game. Like none of it feels swift. But it feels like your dude's supposed to be like John Wick in it out there. But it comes across as so clumsy.
Yeah, and he's like just a normal dude, so he's not like
right.
Like, what normal dude's just going to take out, like, 3 guys at once? I don't know.
Or have you done the attack where you grab a guy and you just, like, punch him in the face?
Yeah.
And there's just no impact at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm supposed to be hitting him in the face with a crowbar, but it looks like I'm just, like, lightly slapping somebody for like attention.
Like from the old NES and SNES era, like when you hit somebody, it's just like, oh, they just kind of flinch.
Yeah,
or not even flinch.
There's no weight or impact to hits. And that's the disappointing part, because I think the presentation, if they upped the presentation of the combat, I think it could have been satisfying.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because you could do some cool stuff like shoot a guy in the knee to lower him and then, you know, take a shot at his friend behind him or something like that.
See, I never fired a bullet at an enemy because I was like, these things are scarce and I don't want to ever get to a spot where I can't. Because you need the gun to get through certain areas.
Right.
Right? And I never wanted to run out of bullets, so I just never use that weapon.
If you ever do, if a bullet is required for a puzzle, there's always an ammo crate nearby.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
well, you know, the trade-off here is even though that combat doesn't have that flourish that you're talking about, the rest of the game has so much going on visually that like unnecessarily good. Like there's things going on in the backgrounds and how detailed the environments are, and there's something really cool about walking through a building and seeing Kong just walking in the background. Not even like looking for you. It's just like there's this constant destruction going on everywhere. This is maybe a weird comparison, but the first Final Destination movie, do you remember like the opening scene when he gets off the plane and he's just kind of having a conversation in the background? You see the plane that he was supposed to be on taking off, and it just silently explodes in midair.
Uh-huh.
That was one of the most harrowing things I saw as a teenager because you knew what was going to happen, but you were connected to those people, all those people that were on that plane somewhat, and it just felt very eerie. That's kind of the feeling I get in this game, is like I'm seeing all this stuff unfold in the background that's not even directly a part of me, but it's just cool. I don't know. I just really like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the highlights of the game is just seeing what's going on, like a Kong investigating a building, or you'll see another Titan maybe creeping along in the background, and it's cool. It reminds you, kind of makes you feel like what it would be like to live in this crazy world of giant monsters.
Yeah, I'm really digging it. I plan to finish it tomorrow, because like I said, I'm probably about a third or half the way through, so it's hard to put down. I just wanted to keep going. And I love the map in this, by the way. The way that the map is done is really well, because even though it's a gear gated game, there's not a ton of verticality. It's very much left to right, but they do a really good job of, when the Fog of War releases, they show the different areas that you can access with a colored icon that says, "Oh, you can access this now," or "You cannot access this." It just makes it very user-friendly to know I need to get over to there somehow. And it's almost like giving you a waypoint without giving you a waypoint.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying this game. I can't wait to finish it. So I feel like we're one of the rare ones that are speaking positively about this game, and I'm really digging. It's just like it's not a normal 2D game. You're not running and gunning. You know what I mean? You're not making crazy decisions. You're not getting these insane weapons. It just feels like very grounded.
Yeah, I think a flashback and games like that are a good comparison point.
Yeah. Anyway,
but
Kong's Survivor Instinct.
The boss fights I think are great too, because you're not shooting at Kong's face. You're not shooting his eyeball 3 times or anything like that. It's much more in the Ori spirit, where the boss fights are chase sequences.
Yeah,
and it's really cool. They're just like these tight, well-paced, breakneck-paced platforming sequences where Kong is destroying the building you're in, or some other monster, and you have to avoid them while also escaping the building as it's collapsing or climbing through an area. It's really exciting, really tense.
It's awesome because you're using the things that you just recently learned as well. Like, I know this sounds trite, but like how to duck. You hardly ever had to use duck to like hide from anything, because you didn't have to hide from anything. You only had to use duck to like crawl under spaces, right? So now you're against him, and you have to like time when you're going to move out of the way when he's looking through the window. You know what I mean? And they do the really great thing with these sequences where when you die, it just like instantly brings you back to where you started. No loading screen or whatever. It's just like, let's do this again.
Right.
Do this again. And I just love that. So I do have one gripe with this game. This might be one of the worst voice acted games I've played.
Oh, dude, yes, you're so right.
In a while. Holy cow. It feels like it's just phoned in. Like, I'm so tired of every time you kill an enemy. What's his name? David or Michael or whatever?
I think it's David.
Every time you kill an enemy, he's like, "You made me do this."
Yeah, or be like, "It wasn't supposed to happen like this."
That's enough violence for a lifetime.
Yes, yeah. As he then shoots another dude in the face.
It's not just him. All the voice acting is terrible.
No, it's pretty top to bottom. Also, the main guy voices like 4 different dudes in the story. so you just hear him, but it's so funny when he voices other people, because he'll be, he's dad guy, but then like if he's a bad guy, he'll be like, so if this is his normal voice when he's playing a bad guy, like, "Yes, sir, of course, we'll get him right away." And like, it's just so obviously the same guy.
Yeah,
it's
really somebody put in some work to do that, and I don't like to crap on anybody's work, but it's very distracting.
Yeah.
Like,
that could be you one day, Scott.
It could be me someday. That is so grounded in reality, and then just these voices are like,
so over the top.
It's near Resident Evil 1 quality of like, "You were almost a Jill sandwich."
That hurts how true that is.
So, but outside of that, highly recommend this game. And what is it, like $25? Which if you perfectly happy with that price, it's really, really good.
Yeah,
so.
It's about 5 or 6 hours, which is Sounds good.
So Scott will finish it in 4 months.
Shut up.
No, it's a 2D. It's a 2D game. He'll finish it quick.
Oh,
He's fast at those.
Gotcha. Well, good.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on. That's the new games we've been playing. But like we do here often, we have people from our community that review games for us. So I sat down with several members, and you're gonna hear about some other games that we've been checking out right now. Well, hello there, Alyssa. How are you doing?
Hi, Scott. I'm okay. How are you doing?
I am doing okay. Exhausted. Just got done with about 6 or 7 hours of yard work.
Oh, wow.
And stuff around the house, laundry, all that kind of good stuff. So I am ready to sit down and play some video games.
You
and I will
deserve
do
it.
that. Yeah, I think so too. But
Mhm.
but I'm not here to whine about all my chores. I am here to talk to you about a game that you've been playing.
Yeah.
And it's a little hilarious because I got to give some inside baseball
It
about how
is.
our review structure goes here. We have a Discord channel with all the people that write for the Gaming Outsider, and I
Mhm.
always post trailers in there so people can check out games. This game came across my email, and I didn't even bother posting it
He didn't.
on Discord. I just reached out to Alyssa and said, I found a game for you. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that you want to review this because it feels like a game that was made for you.
It
Is that-
does really. Just the thumbnail. I knew as soon as I saw the thumbnail, I'm like, I want this game.
Yeah. So for those that have been listening to the show for any length of time, you probably know that Alyssa loves K-drama.
Yes.
And this game that she's playing on PS5 called Love Too Easily is basically a choose-your-own-adventure, full-motion video, K-drama video game.
It is.
and-
Yes.
So I'm genuinely excited to talk to you about this because I have never watched a K-drama.
Hmm.
I you talk about them every week, and I can't remember specific names or anything. But this one, maybe actually seeing it in person does something. But anyway, this game is, like I said, you're playing on PS5. It's also available on Switch and PC. The developer is Monster Guide Inc., and the publisher is Medibang Games. And we were provided a code by Home Run PR, but I don't know the price point of this game. I could not find a price point for it. Do you have one?
I saw that it's available on Steam for $21.99, so I'm assuming it's probably going to be that price on PlayStation as well.
Okay. It wasn't on the PlayStation Store with a price yet, but it'll be at least somewhere comparable. But
Mhm.
so tell me about this game, because outside in perspective, a person that isn't into K-drama, this seems like a really silly idea.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, a girl meets 3 guys, she winds up making out with one of them, wakes up the next morning, can't remember which one she made out with, so she's on a mission to figure out which one it was she kissed. Is that really the whole story?
Yes, that is the whole story.
Okay. All right.
But I'm still playing through it because it has multiple endings. So
11, it says in the trailer.
So you play as Yun-U, who is a college student, and she and her friends go, and they, have a night of drinking. She does end up making out with one of them, but she doesn't know who it is. So your task is, after that day, you have to gather clues by talking to all the friends and doing different things with them to try to figure out who you kissed.
All without revealing that you don't remember,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's just so many different things going on, and I still have not figured out who it is, by the way, and I've
Wow.
gotten 3 different endings. So I'm going to play until I figure out who it is.
How long does it take to get through to an ending?
So the first time took me about an hour because you can't skip or anything, but once you complete the game once, you're then able to go back to any specific scene and start from that point, and then,
Make different decisions.
and you can also, it allows you to skip through previously seen scenes and dialogue, so you can skip past anything you've already encountered.
Gotcha.
So that
And
makes
what
it a
is
lot shorter.
What's the main character's name again?
Yun-U,
Yun-U. She is gorgeous.
she's very pretty, yeah.
Just absolutely stunningly
Yeah.
gorgeous to me. I hope she's
I
Old
don't.
enough?
She's 23 in the game. I'm
Okay.
not sure about in real life.
okay. Now I've not watched a K-drama,
Mhm.
so I have to rely on your expertise here because again, this is full motion video, guys. This is not animated. This is film. This isn't an interactive movie.
Mhm.
does the quality of the filming here, does it stand up against the K-dramas that you watch normally?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it definitely holds up. It feels like an authentic K-drama. But I did want to mention there are some small sections that actually break away from the FMV format.
Oh, really? Okay.
Do you remember like the Flash type games you play on your browser from years and years ago?
Sure.
Well, at certain points when you make a decision for Yun-U, you'll have to play a mini game, and it could be you're at a cafe and you have to make drinks, or you have to do Yun-U's makeup, and it's just, it adds a different flavor, and it's a cartoon aesthetic. Then you're not actually playing as an actor. You're not, doing choose your own adventure. So there are mini games sprinkled throughout too that freshen the experience up. So that part isn't, K-drama accurate, but it's interesting and it's unique, and it's not really something I've seen implemented in other FMV type of games. It's unique.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you enjoy those, or do you find them a distraction from the story?
I actually enjoy them. I feel like it adds a little bit more to the story, just getting hands-on with it.
All right, so again, the game is called Love Too Easily. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you're going to recommend this if you like K-dramas. But,
for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for checking that out. I don't know if I'll play it, but I'm more intrigued by the K-drama thing. There's actually a teacher at work that is big into K-dramas, and I told her about you, and I was like, so is the Subway thing for real? And she's like of the mind that isn't a thing. And I'm like, I don't think you're watching the same K-dramas.
So if Subway pops up in a dang K-drama, you're going to Subway.
Yeah. All right, sounds good, Alyssa. Well, we'll see you next time, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Rel, long time no see. How you been, man?
Doing well. The rain's come in and I'm staying inside.
That's right. I hear the storms are coming over on the West Coast. I thought it was more north than you, though.
Nope. It's hit us.
Okay, well, that means it's coming our way, so I got that to look forward to, I suppose. But we're not here to talk about the weather. We're here to talk about a game called Farmagia that you're playing on Switch. This game is from developer Marvelous Inc., published by Xseed Games, and it's also available on PS5 and PC, provided to us by 1PR Studio. Boy, this looks very Japanese in all the best ways. Tell everybody what this game is.
It is super anime.
Yeah.
The character designs are done by the same guy who did Fairy Tail. So if you're familiar with that manga/anime, it'll look familiar. It is a sort of action RPG Pikmin-esque with farming elements, and you build relationships with hot elemental women.
Hot Elemental Women. That was the name of my band in college. In the farming aspect, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like in the trailer, you raise crops that turn into the creatures that you use in battle.
Yes, of course. You grow them. You grow them from the ground because monsters don't grow on trees,
They grow in the dirt.
Yeah, they grow in the dirt somehow. So this game is so weird. I have such mixed feelings about it. It's not what I would call a great game. It is, I don't even know if I'd call it a good game, but it's certainly an attempt at a game. And I think that they spent a lot of money on like the art design and the voice work and the music. Music's really good. But not a whole lot on the world, the overall gameplay loop, and things like that. Like it's very Japanese. It's got an interesting premise to start with. Like it's this world where everybody lives on the backs of gigantic monsters, and you have the Farmagia who can raise monsters as crops and pluck them out of the ground and then use them to fight for them in, battles kind of similar to Pikmin, where you just mash a button and you send a whole bunch of, those monsters to fight other big monsters. And on paper, sounds really fun. And at first it was like, oh, wow, this is really interesting. But then you kind of realize there's not really much to it in terms of a game. There's a lot to it. Well, there's a lot to it in terms of a story, because like I said, it's fully voiced. You have this plot where the old like ruler of all the lands has died, and his advisor has assumed control and is trying to establish this like meritocracy where only people who have proven their worth will advance. But then you're told by someone who betrayed this new guy that actually the guy who took over is really a scumbag, and we need to fight back and start a revolution. And I remember seeing that and thinking, okay, I guess if we didn't, there wouldn't be a plot, but sure. I mean, I'm going along with it. But then the way the gameplay loop works is you go to your farm, you plant some monsters, you water some monsters, you pluck some monsters out of the ground, you harvest them. And then once you run out of stamina, you go into whatever dungeon there is. And these are dungeons that are supposedly randomly generated. And then you go into rooms Hades-esque and fight monsters. And then once you beat all the monsters, you get to pick your reward for the next floor. And then at the end, you fight a boss and you go back to town and you do more farming. The problem is all of these little rooms are just little like 3D boxy arenas that are super small. They all look pretty much the same, except they change slightly between the different biomes that you go to, like, Twilight biome, lava biome, whatever. And the combat itself is, like, once you figure it out, it gets kind of boring. Because the way that it works is you mash a button, like you press the X button and you send in the monsters that are assigned to that button. And then they attack the enemy, and you yourself don't really do anything other than you time your guards. Like, you can hit guard button and it'll withdraw all your monsters and put them under a magic shield, and that will block any enemy's attacks. Because your monsters...
Which looks cool, by the way.
It does. But your monsters, they're not smart enough to avoid enemy attacks by themselves, so you have to call them back. And then once the enemy's attacked, you send your dudes back in to hit them. But it's really just sending in your monsters, waiting for the enemy to parry, and they make this big flashing light when they're about to attack. So it's really easy to tell when they're going to parry, when they're going to attack, what kind of attack they're going to do. Because you can do just a regular block, or you can do what's called a Unite Fusion, or Unite Blitz, I think, where your monsters like merge together into this larger form and really quickly launch a counterattack. And once you figure out the rhythm of it, it just becomes very samey, because there's only a few, like maybe 6 or 7 different types of monsters or big enemies that you encounter who then, warrant actually guarding their attacks. All the rest of them are just small fry where you just send your dudes in and they're gone in a second.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, let me ask you this, because I was unclear watching the trailer. You as the player, because there's like the enemies like do these area of effect attacks, or not area. Maybe that's not even the right way to say it, but like these red circles that you have to make sure you're not in.
Yeah.
Are you only managing your character, or can your little guys also get damaged? You have to manage all of them at the same time.
Sort of.
That seems chaotic.
Sort of. They're not smart enough to avoid attacks, so you do have to recall them to get them to move away from any like area of effect. But those area of effect attacks can be countered with a blitz, and so you just wait until the circle's almost all filled in, do the blitz, and bam, it's countered.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and so as long as you're pretty decent on timing, you can just block everything. You just stand there. And, if you really need to, you can get out of like certain area of effects if you don't have a blitz ready to go and recall your monsters, because they can get damaged and like stunned. And then you have to walk over to them to revive them.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a little bit of, if you are bad, it will be harder. But if you can time your blocks and your blitzes well, you just kind of stand there for 90% of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the farming aspect as well is very, very basic. Like I don't necessarily expect this to be Rune Factory. But at the same time, the way that farming works, you plant the monsters, you water them, you can end the day without really any consequence. There's no village to explore. It's all menu based. There's no like world you can take your monsters out into. It's just these like tiny dungeons that go floor by floor. And it's just not really exciting to play because of that. There's a lot of missed opportunities with this game because they have all these different monster types, but only some of them can be used in combat. Only very few of them can be used in combat. The really cool ones, the giant rock golems or the dragons or the Monster Hunter magic unicorns that you can grow. Those are considered research monsters that give you points that you can then use to like increase your abilities, whether you're farming abilities or unlock new types of battle monsters. But the ones you can take into battle are just smaller ones.
Oh,
yeah.
There's no necessarily leveling up and getting bigger and better monsters. It's just still small ones.
Well, yeah, you keep getting just the smaller ones to actually use into combat. And I think that was just done because if you were taking along like 20 of these giant golems, it would be impossible to it would also be impossible to handle because you'd have these giant golems, like 20 of them, because you can take up to the limit of a particular monster type, but it's usually better to have a variety. So you'll have like 15, 20 of one monster type, and they all do render on the screen. So unless they were scaled down, obviously, if you had those, 20 dragons, it would be impossible to see anything.
Right.
But at the same time, and I swear I'm not going to keep comparing this to Rune Factory, I'm going to switch over to Xenoblade. So in Xenoblade...
Which also is living on the back of a creature, right?
Yes. And also did it much better because you can explore those creatures. And
right.
it was great. But also, in that game, you had like obstacles like whirlwinds that were blocking your path, or ice walls, or giant gaps that you could traverse using the monsters that you had summoned and befriended in that game, in Xenoblade. And they weren't done in the best way. I'm not going to say that was a fantastic system, but like Farmagia could have done that. They could have had a world to explore where your monsters could help you overcome obstacles if you finally grow the right ones, add in those Metroidvania aspects. You could have had Rune Factory-esque handcrafted dungeons that you could explore rather than just very bare bones arenas that are ultimately still too closed in, even though you don't really have to move around very much. There's so much that they could have done with this game. They could have expanded more on the farming and which creatures could actually be usable. But like I said, I think they put their emphasis on the story and the voice work and the music, and they didn't really expand too much on the gameplay, or they didn't expand nearly as much on the actual gameplay as they could have.
So it sounds like a game that has some good ideas, but maybe the sequel will be better.
I mean, if they make a sequel, like I said, I would love to see them do like an actual world. Because the way it is now, it's basically Etrian Odyssey, where you just have menus to navigate around town, and then you go into the dungeon, and there's an actual place to explore. Except the dungeons in this game are not very good. But I would love to see an expansion of the world. I'd love to see the combat system get a little bit more complex, and create a system that is not just focused on like parrying, because it's not really being done very well the way it is. Like, I'd rather see more being done with utilizing monsters, say, at a specific time. Like, if an enemy's about to do a big ol' AoE attack, how about send in this particular monster type to either slow down their attack or to stun them and counter the attack itself before it goes off. And that way, you actually use the monsters strategically as opposed to just wait for the attack to be there and then counter real quick.
Gotcha. So again, that game is Farmagia, $49.99.
Yeah, it's not worth that price. I mean, it's got a good number of hours of content, but for $50, I can recommend a good number of games that are done much better. For instance, have you heard that Dragon Quest III has been remastered for Switch and for PS5?
I have. Never played it.
Oh my God, you're in for a treat. It is basically RPG comfort food.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate you checking that one out. Sorry it wasn't what you were hoping for, but I still appreciate you checking it out.
Oh, of course.
All right, man. Where can people check out your stuff?
Nowhere.
Oh.
No longer have the YouTube channel. I mean, if you want to see some of my old Gems of War content or my old reviews, it is at youtube.com/relplays, RELLE plays. But I haven't uploaded anything in quite a while, so you have 100% of me.
All right. Well, we'll catch you next time, dude. Thanks again.
Of course. Later.
Mark Szymanski, how are you, sir?
I am good. I am here. It's another great game, and I'm ready to go.
If you could do me a favor and stop reviewing more games than me, I would greatly appreciate it.
I hate to tell you something, Scott, but I'm going to be back next weekend.
I can't keep up with you and Alyssa, man. It's just like, I thought I was doing pretty well. I got over 2 reviews a month, and I'm like, that was my goal for 2024, and I'm already there. And I'm like, I'm ahead of the game. Nope, here comes Mark. Pulling ahead of me, more reviews than I do, just the host of the show. Anyway, no, it's we really appreciate the work that you do over here, man. You do awesome work. And I'm genuinely interested in this game that you're playing. It's called Locomotive, which is clever in itself. You're playing it on Switch, but I know it's also available on Mac and PC. And the developer is Robust Games. It's published by Chucklefish and was provided to us by the fine people over at Press Engine. So, Locomotive is such an aptly titled name for this because it's like a murder mystery on a train, like Murder on the Orient Express type of thing.
Yes.
But it's like old school point-and-click adventure vibes with some awesome animation. Looks like it's got a sense of humor. Is this as awesome as it looks?
You are telling it exactly as it is. It is as awesome as it looks. And
all right,
it could be... I have one tiny little thing that I have against it right now, but I'll save that for the very end. The rest of it is just fantastic.
All right. So what's the story?
So you hit the nail on the head. It is a murder mystery. Takes place on a train, very Agatha Christie-esque. And it's telling, except it's far more comical. Except it does it like a neat little twist. The first part of the game, you play as the person who's been murdered, the victim. You play her lawyer. And then the second part of the game, you play a wannabe detective who was also an author of books. And then the third part of the game, you are a British revenue agent or something like that who is investigating the whole all the shenanigans going on.
Okay.
So, and that is a good thing. And I guess I will jump ahead to the one part. It's kind of a long game for me. It doesn't have to be, though. For the first part, I was doing everything. I was hitting every single audio file, every single conversation that you could do. I was doing all of them. I was clicking on everything. So I was really going 100%, for lack of a better word, on a game like this, where you really don't have to. You can kind of just do the things that you need to do to make the game progress. The rest of it's just extra butter.
Gotcha.
But for me, it's taking a while. If I'm going to go at this rate, it would take me almost 20 hours, whereas I looked it up and it says it's about a 12-hour game. Definitely palatable at 12 hours. 20 hours, gotcha. I'd say it's dragging out. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop clicking on everything and just play the game.
Okay. Well, that's going to be, you said clicking on everything, and that was going to be my next question is, The trailer was very animated in terms of telling its story or letting you know what the style of game is, but there wasn't much gameplay that I could see. I didn't see a cursor or anything like that. Is this there's a cursor on the screen that you're moving around with the Joy-Con, clicking on things, interacting, combining items, or is it a different kind of point-and-click adventure?
Different kind. You are moving the character around on the screen, running back and forth across the train, one end to the other, and as you get near items that you can click on, it pops up like a little diamond shape over it to indicate, hey, you can click on me. And so then you just use your L and your R button, the shoulder buttons, not the trigger buttons. Thank you. So you press the shoulder buttons to traverse across the ones that you can click on. And then once it's highlighted, you click on it and you can see what you do with it, interact with it, pick it up in some cases like your point and click adventure games. And then, of course, you can go into his inventory and combine items. You have to do that a few times, like most point-and-click adventure games. But that part is pretty standard. The controls, that's a neat little twist. Instead of a cursor, you're moving the person around. I would much rather talk about where they really put the effort into this game, and that is with the story and 100% the voice acting. It is 100% voice acted. You don't read anything. It is completely acted out for you.
Wow. So you're not even reading dialogue while it's being spoken. It's just straight up spoken.
You have the option to read dialogue with it, but it is straight up spoken.
Nice.
Very nice.
So how does the gameplay work then? Are you trying, it sounds like you're trying to solve the mystery, like collecting clues, and, are you trying to guess who the killer is, or does it just resolve itself towards the end?
I'm not quite there yet to know how that part goes, but I know the first part with the detective, you are trying to prove your own innocence. Or not the detective, I'm sorry, the lawyer. You are trying to prove that you didn't do it. And then the detective is trying to investigate who did do it. And then I'm assuming, because I haven't quite got to the third part yet, I'm assuming that once you get to the British revenue agent, that you are probably looking for the motive at that point.
Got the Loco motive?
Oh, hey-oh.
The other thing that struck me is just the sense of humor prevalent in the trailer. And not even just in the voice acting, which is phenomenal, the little bit that I heard in the trailer, but even the animations, the way the characters emote. It's very pixelated, but it's that really highly stylized pixelation that gives characters emotions and depth that we didn't get from Monkey Island games back in the day. You know what I mean? They had kind of a couple different standard emotions, or they do something bombastic, but this just seems like it's all over the place.
Truly
and it's gorgeous.
It is truly all over the place. It's gorgeous. It's surprising at points, and then you can see all their facial expressions. Everything is just so crystal clear despite the pixelated graphics. And then kind of give you a little spirit of their sense of humor. There's a part near the very beginning, this won't be a spoiler at all because it's in the opening scene. They go through a tunnel, so the lights go out, and then when the lights come back up, the lady's on the ground dead. And somebody looks and investigates, looks at her body, and she goes, maybe it's not so bad. And then just the pixelated blood just spurts out of her neck, all over.
Maybe it's a flesh wound.
Yeah, just a flesh wound, exactly. And obviously, she's dead because the blood is everywhere. And from that moment on, I said, this is a game for me. This is going to be a good time. I can't wait to dive in.
That's cool. And 12 hours seems to be my sweet spot in terms of how long I want a game to be. So, assuming I'm not going to click on everything like you're talking about. Sounds like you recommend this one.
Oh, highly recommended. This one, I'll have to take a look at my top 10 list that I have so far, but this one I could really see making the spot.
Wow. That's good to hear, man.
Not the top spot. That's going to be tough to kick a good old Lost Crown and Astrobot off the top two. But we'll see we'll see what the rest of the list looks like and see where this one fits in.
Those two are definitely on my list as well, but man, I keep jumbling around my list for the year. I genuinely don't know for sure what order I'm going to have. So, but thanks for checking this one out, man. Locomotive sounds really cool. I mean, I love murder mysteries, I love humor, and I love pixel art. So it's just a winning combination all around. I'm going to have to add this one to my list of ones I want to try out this year.
Heck yeah, highly recommended. Indie Studios, Robust Games is a brother duo. And this is their first game. And if this is a teller of things to come, I am going to be watching out for Robust Games, without a doubt.
Very cool, Mark. I appreciate you checking that one out, man. Making me jealous of all these awesome games you get to play that I can't review it now because you already did. So, What are you going to do?
Put it in your library and hope you get to it.
Exactly. All right, man. Well, you have a go, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you to everybody. That was awesome. Some really great games that I want to check out. Moving on very quickly. Got some, I already talked about Facebook, but we do have a new member over on Discord. I do not know how to pronounce this, so whoever you are, I apologize. But Clint Colo DZIEJ joined the Discord server. Also, somebody by the name of Abby joined the group this week, and I found out that is one of my students in my classroom. She found our Discord server and joined.
Of your current classroom?
My current classroom, yeah.
Oh,
she was she was
Hi,
all excited.
Abby.
But she's not listening. She joined the Discord, but she's not listening to the episode.
Never mind, Abby.
Also, drop us a review if you get a chance. If you're an iTunes user or Apple Podcast user, drop us a review. It helps us get the word out there. And lastly, our website, thegamingoutsider.com. You can find all of our written content, including my written review of Astrobot. Spoiler alert, I gave it a perfect 10 out of 10. That game is outstanding. Alyssa's review of Love Too Easily and Minecop. Thomas's review of the Riven Remaster, and Rel's review of Farmagia. Those are all available at thegamingoutsider.com. We hope you will check it out. Now, it is time for us to go to our From the Outside In topic. I can't believe we've been doing this podcast for this long, and we've never talked about maps.
I can.
Video game maps. 520-something episodes. They are a vital part of so many games, and we often take them for granted when they work exceptionally well. More often than not, we only recognize them when we don't like what they have to offer. So for this From the Outside In topic, we're going to go over the do's and don'ts of in-game maps, as well as discuss some of our favorite uses in games over the years. So let's start with what makes a good map. What should be in every map in your guys' eyes?
They should have annotations that update as you progress. So Kong is a good example, or Silent Hill 2 is a great example. Always, or the Silent Hill always has been, where if you try a door and it doesn't open, the character puts an X over it, or the game does.
Yeah.
And if you need a key, maybe they write like a little question mark or something like that. Just little reminders to you as a player of, oh, it should come back here, or oh, it's a waste of time to go back there. That's what every map should have.
Or a game that lets you do it yourself. Remember the Zelda game where you could actually physically draw on the map on the DS? And you just write your own notes, which is what you would do if you had a paper map in real life, right?
Well, yeah, that'd be cool too, but there's no guarantee of that.
No. But I was kind of hoping that the Prince of Persia game would open up the taking a screenshot of this area where you are and basically posting it on your map. I was certain that was going to be a thing that everybody was going to steal, but I also thought the same thing about that Lord of the Rings game that did the Nemesis system. Someone's going to steal that, but
the screenshot thing, it's hasn't even been a year yet, so
yeah,
maybe people haven't had a chance to steal it, and they should steal it. It's great.
It's so handy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to have that visual cue. So I'm with you that the annotated thing. Yeah, Resident Evil did do that. They would even put the logo of the key that you needed for that door.
Well, Silent Hill did it, but I think Resident Evil did it too. I think.
Oh, Silent Hill did it first?
Well, Silent Hill had it where the character it actually looked like hand drawn by the character, which was super cool. Because then it also felt like a part of the world. And then Silent Hill 2 remake, you actually see, if you try a door that's locked, you'll actually see James whip out the map and write a little something on the map before he puts it back away.
Wow, that's cool.
It's super cool.
I was this close to pulling the trigger on that game this week, man.
I don't know why you didn't.
It was out of stock.
It's very good.
I should have just, as soon as the thing popped up, I should have just bought it. It was on sale for $30. It's a $70 game, and it came out, a month ago?
Yeah.
October? I should have bit the bullet.
Slap in the face to us early adopters.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fine by me, man. It was worth every penny.
Alan, you're a developer.
Yeah.
What do you
Alan,
think?
what do you think? What should be in every map?
I agree. I think everything that you'd need to 100% a game should at some point show up on the map. I think a lot of that's going to be kind of frustrating, I guess, for the average players. So definitely some degree of kind of working your way down in you start with only the high level stuff. The further zoomed out you get, and the closer you get in, the more you see. There's a lot of maps where the whole thing's just full of stuff, and avoiding that's good. But
man, Assassin's Creed Unity made me not want to play that kind of Assassin's Creed game anymore.
Oh yeah, that was really bad, huh?
Oh, it was stressed me out, dude. Because like you remember me, I could not go on with those games until I cleared everything off the map. Do you have any idea how hard it was to clear those maps?
Did you do it for Unity?
No. No, couldn't do it.
But if you were trying to 100% it, how terrible it would be to not have all of that on the map. That's the thing. They got to find a way to like show it all, but not overwhelm you with it.
Oh, let you toggle it?
Yeah, like toggles and just dynamically changing what's on the map by zoom level or something like that.
Okay.
Where the Arkham games do a cool thing where you find a map that helps put things on the map. So you find one collectible and helps you find the other collectibles. I always like that for the Riddler trophies.
Nice. Jake, what about you? What should be in every map?
I don't know. I feel like it depends on the game, because I feel like I do really good with maps that just show topography, and then maybe have fog of war that just gets, maybe you cleared a room, but you didn't clear one side of the room, and then when you go back into that room, the fog of war kind of goes away, and you see that there's a door, and then then you go through the door or whatever. I don't need everything that's labeled, onto me. Sometimes I feel like it's cluttered. Sometimes I feel like it's a dead giveaway, where things, especially when you're like, it's supposed to be something that you're searching for, and when the game goes, oh yeah, it's in this room or it's in this area, it takes away from that, like, where I should be looking. I like the more ambiance giveaways, rather than pointing it out when you get close. They make a noise, or you feel something that they're, the secrets are around or whatever. But more linear games like Resident Evil, when you're going through doors and having your character pull out a map and X off, is a nice feature. But I don't know, it really depends on the type of game that you're playing when it comes to the maps.
Did you ever play Firewatch?
I did not.
Firewatch, it's a smaller game and it wasn't super in depth with the map, but they did an interesting thing with that where you used a map like you would use a map in real life. Like you pull open the map and say, okay, I need to look for this landmark and go this direction from that landmark. You know what I mean? It was like using map skills, which, in a world of waypoints and everything, which I'm very thankful for. Man, when a game has an option to turn off a waypoint if you want that like realism, I'm like, who would want that? Why that's me. I'm just like, I don't want that realism. Just point me in the right direction and let me go there.
Morrowind 3 or Morrowind,
oh, yeah.
Elder Scrolls 3. I'm sorry, Alan, what were you going to say?
I was saying I have a problem. I can't avoid a map if it's there. Like I'm never going to say I'm not going to use this, but I would more often. I would appreciate if more often they just didn't include one, or they didn't include a lot, just for the immersion's sake. Like I don't know, I wouldn't be opposed to that, because I feel like I need that to be forced away from me for me to act. But I would still enjoy it. I just wouldn't be able to convince myself to do it of my own accord.
What about games where like you don't have it and then you like discover the map? You know what I mean? Like Zelda was a big one like that. You got like sometimes a third of the way through the dungeon before like, oh, you found a map and now you can see where you're going.
I think that's useful.
Kind of fog of war kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get the best of both worlds that way, right? Like you have to start, working without a map, but then, you earn it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to every other game that just automatically gives you a map. For some reason, I can see every place on this map and I've memorized it. Nobody memorizes a map. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or creates a map in their head of what they saw.
Or the games where you meet somebody and they're talking about something and they go, oh, here, let me mark it on your map real quick. And then all of a sudden you have like a waypoint off into the fog of where this thing is. You don't know what it looks like there, but you know where it is. Yeah. And so then you have to kind of work your way to it.
Well, keep it on you, Jacob. What makes using a video game map insufferable to you? What should not be in maps?
Oh, God. There's a lot.
Oh.
there should be a legend, but when the legend has no explanation as to what any of the points are on a map, there's just symbols. There needs to be some kind of explanation. So I guess not having a legend makes some maps insufferable, and so you have no, like, I know something is there. Something is on the map. It's pointed out to me, but I have no idea what it is because there's nothing that tells me what that is. And so
it's
then
just
you kind of
question mark.
Yeah, so then you just go over there. I don't know, I've played some games where they're triangles. I've played some games where they're just actual like bullet points, and then you go over there, and then it actually changes into what it's supposed to be. But again, there's still no defining marker as to, or description as to what it is. You just kind of have to look at the picture and go, oh yeah, I know what that picture is. But then they're like, an inch on your screen or something that you can't really see anyway. They're just a bunch of pixels.
Okay. You got others?
The inability to zoom in.
I haven't played a game that didn't let you zoom in on a map in a long time.
Well, there's a lot of games that allow you to zoom in, but you can't zoom in far enough, or you can't zoom out far enough, or something. Like if the map is so big that I feel like I need to zoom out to move to zoom back in, like it should go farther out to allow me to move faster. Or something, traveling in, I play big scale games. And so when you're traveling, trying to find something on the map and you have to like move the map for a good minute and a half to find what you're looking for because you can't zoom out far enough, it gets frustrating and takes you out of the game.
Okay. Your list still going or?
No, I'm good.
You gotta let me. Yeah, you're got it. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was expecting a longer list.
Most of you guys are happy when I be quiet.
Zach, how about you?
Well, piggyback off of what Jacob said, I think it is insufferable when a map doesn't let you zoom in and out as you would like. Like right now in Dragon Quest XI, you can either have the zoom out or you press one button and it zooms you in. But there's no in between levels.
Mm-hmm.
I should be able to scale it as I want, to my heart's content. And in as far as I want, out as far as I want, whatever. Just let me have control over it. Otherwise, I feel like I'm pretty adaptable to video game maps because a lot of the ones people trash, like Jedi, the Fallen Order,
I never understood.
Yeah, it seemed fine to me. Or, did Metroid Prime's map get some heat?
That's one on my list.
I thought that was fine. But for me, the biggest thing that's insufferable is when the map button is more than a single button press. Maps are so essential to so many games that it should always just be one button press away. So
I think that was one thing I liked about when they introduced the PS4 controller was most games to go to the map, you just press the touch screen.
Right.
Or the touchpad. That was just like the universal, like go to the map. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we all. And the smart games, though, would be like the left touchpad is the map and like the right touchpad is your inventory or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's always nice. But yeah, the touchpad did fix a lot of that, which is cool. Which is nice.
Nice. Alan, anything stand out to you that should not be in video game maps?
So in preparation for this topic, I hopped into a lot of the old games that I'd played in the last, I don't know, couple of months anyways. And they all seemed fine. Like I was trying to find a map that I didn't like or that wasn't good or useful. And I don't know. I can't think of anything in particular that I've noticed. At least that I could think of some things that maybe they shouldn't do, but I can't think of anything that I've noticed that anybody's done wrong. So, no complaints for me.
I've got one big one for me, and that is a game that does not do a good job of explaining elevation to you. Nothing frustrates me more than when I'm playing like an Assassin's Creed game or something, and I'm following a waypoint, and I get there, and I have no idea if it's above me, if it's below me, if I'm in the right spot, because like it's so stupid. Like that was another big reason why I quit Unity, was because all of those icons were so insane to clear anyway. But then I actually get there and it's like, oh, well, no, you have to be in the bottom side of the building. Well, which floor? There's 4 floors on this building. Am I going to comb through all of these things and hope I'm in the right floor? And, especially if you're in like I don't know what they call it, when you're in a danger area where, they know you're there. They're looking for you. You have to be more stealthy. I don't want to be stealthy.
Right.
Just put it I don't know. Some games have done a decent job with it where like the waypoint it'll have like an arrow pointing up if it's above you or below. But I feel like more often than not, even in like Far Cry games, I'm following a waypoint, I'm climbing a mountain, and all of a sudden it says I'm at the spot. Oh no, it's actually in the mountain. You had to go find some random cave entrance to get there.
And it's not
that
close.
Is super. Yeah. And it's a big mountain, so you got to like just walk around the entire mountain and hope you stumble across this entrance. That's really
that happened to me a couple of times in Breath of the Wild, I think, where I was just like, I have no idea, but it turns out it was underground, and I just couldn't find the entrance.
So what are some examples of some really good maps used in video games? Alan, we're going to start with you this time.
I had 3 that I was thinking of that were really good that I liked. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I know that game itself gets a lot of crap, but that one's a 3D bird's eye view of the city, and it just looks beautiful, first of all. And then just they did the right thing of having a good level of focus at the different levels. You've got you've got your factions or whatever they called them at the top level. It kind of, as you looked out at each borough or whatever you call them in London, I don't know. And you get closer and closer in, and it just gives you the right detail. I don't know. I mostly liked it for the way it looks, but it does seem like it did a good job of actually getting me where I needed to go. So that was cool.
I do. Now that you mentioned that, I do remember the 3D. It was almost like it was tilted. Like the map was kind of tilted, so you could see the depth behind it. Yeah, that's cool.
It just looked really cool. None of the other. I don't think any of the other Assassin's Creed games did that. I was looking back through it all, and they were all just flat maps. So.
Mm-hmm.
So Lego City Undercover
Whoa.
on the Wii U. There's a lot of things I loved about that game, in particular that the way it used the gamepad, and I just thought that was a really cool use, that your map was on the gamepad and it's like you had your own little GPS like while you're playing the game. I don't know. I just loved all the ways they used the gamepad in that, but the map being on there was just really, you could just tap where you wanted to go on the gamepad without opening up a map. It was 0 taps to get to the map instead of 1,
Even better. Man,
Oh, if I got to go into a menu and then like right bumper over a couple spots to get to the map, forget it.
yeah, it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Lego City Undercover. Didn't expect that to get brought up.
Yeah.
And then Elite Dangerous. I don't know how easy that map was to navigate. I do not remember. It's been like 3 years since I played that game, but it was beautiful. Like, because it's just the galaxy and it's all the stars, and you can zoom in and kind of pass through, and it was, I don't know, just being able to navigate through that and then pick where you're going, and made it pretty easy to navigate too, because you just pick a spot and it would auto pick the best hyper jump path to get there. And then I did have a special mention here, because it's not in the game, but about a few months ahead of the release of Grand Theft Auto 4, Rockstar released a fake tourism website. Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember that. They had the map of the city, and then every couple of weeks they'd like put another couple of tourist sites or waypoints to kind of get you hyped about the game. This is what you'll do in Middle Park, or here's the Statue of Happiness or whatever. I don't think I've ever been more hyped for a game. Like I probably every day after school ran and like checked the website to see if they put anything else up on that map.
Dude, it was an amazing time to be alive.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good call. I forgot about that.
But yeah, those are my favorite maps.
Nice. Zach, how about you?
I don't know, man. Nothing really. I guess I'm just not a map appreciator. The Silent Hill map did stick out, but it's just like Super Metroid, right? The perfect map. It's just clean. It tells you everything you need to know. It fills in as you're exploring it. Or in Super Metroid, do you have map stations, or is that later?
There are map stations, yeah. Like you plug into them, like the way you recharge your missiles.
Yeah, and then you get to see all the areas you haven't been to, but they're a different color. It's just so efficient. So Metroid, man, the perfect.
And they did a
map.
really slick thing where, like, when they do unlock that map, they show the map, and like this line goes over it, kind of washes over the map, and then reveals like the new areas. And it just felt really techie at the time. Like it was super rad.
Yeah, you feel
like this luminous line goes across your map.
it feels sci-fi. It feels like you're in the future.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got this little screen wipe that is revealing the truth to you.
It's crazy to like, I've played Super Metroid so many times, and then to go back to the original Metroid, and there's no map at all. Like, because I played Metroid Zero Mission, which is a remake of the original Metroid, and that one's got the whole like waypoints and Super Metroid-esque map. And it's like, holy cow, we didn't have this in the original game. You just had to memorize everything that you went to on the fly. Like, it's just crazy to think about.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Jake, how about you?
I think any big city map is done pretty well. There's no real glaring problems done with them. Because they're based on a city, everything is pretty much open, and any blockade that you have is just basically a building, or maybe you can't access that part of the city yet, or whatever. But city maps do pretty easily. I'm brought back to memories of like Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, where it was basically just not a picture of the city, but it was like they took Spider-Man, like the camera, and put him way up in the sky, and he was looking down over the city, and everything was still moving. Like,
oh yeah,
it was still live. And then so you could like move around and see things. You could even see the trophies on top of the high-rise coins on top of the buildings that you had to collect. And so you could kind of find them through like looking at the map that way, but the map was alive. And so it was nice to have that kind of like, while you're looking at the city, the city is still moving. And a lot of games don't do that because there's so many things going on at once in video games now that it's really hard to capture a view like that from another point of view and having that many things moving on the screen. But the only one that I made a comment on Discord about it, but usually I like really big maps because they're nice. I like traversing them. I like looking around. I like, doing all that nonsense and finding the little tidbits here and there. But when there is something that is huge in the middle of the map that just blocks everything, your travel, your view, your whatever. The mountain in Skyrim, for one. They put a map marker at the very top of it, and I spent however long climbing the mountain the first time I played it years and years ago, because I didn't realize that there was going to be a actual mission to climb the stairs on the other side of the mountain. It goes, well, there it is, and then you just go directly to it because, hey, the map is open. You go directly to it. Maps like New Vegas, I brought that one up. The game says it's too dangerous to go over here, and then you find out there are death claws, and you get killed every time you go over there, but you can make your way through if you're fast enough. But the game really wants you to go a different direction first, and that was okay, but it just seemed like there was this, like, I really, like, why even have the part of that map open yet if it's going to be so overwhelmingly difficult to go that way. But I don't know, I like open maps. I like maps that you can see most of the world that you're looking at. Not really a map, but all of the Dark Souls games, if you get to certain locations, they actually open up your vision, allow you to either look down or look across, or they allow your view to open, and then you can see other parts of the world. They're not on that map, but that they're in the world because you can see them from where you're standing. And you can kind of go, hey, I've been over there. Hey, I've been to that mountain. I've been to that castle. I've been to this area. And I think that's really cool that maps, like certain maps, allow you to do that kind of stuff.
All right. Mine have mostly been mentioned already. We talked about Metroid. We talked about Metroid Prime. The Star Wars game.
We talked about Metroid Other M. We talked about Metroid Dread.
Yeah. Fallen Order. Control, I feel like, followed that same kind of map as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, nice. It was a nice, simple one.
Just that 3D modeling. We talked about the Zelda one where you could draw on it. That was a big thing. So most of those have been mentioned, but I'm gonna like add on to there something that I miss about games with maps, and it was just a thing that I absolutely loved about the early Assassin's Creed games was once you finish an area, you got all the collectibles, you got all the towers. It just like shaded that section of the city as done.
Yeah.
It just felt so good, and I feel like we don't do that anymore. I miss that because it made going to that map feel like every time you went back to the map, it felt like look at how much progress I've made. I'm just carving this out piece by piece.
Your checklist brain was going crazy.
Yeah, and now it's just insufferable to do all that stuff now because there's just no little pockets of satisfaction that you got in some of those earlier games. So yeah, most of mine were discussed already. Let's go ahead. We only had one comment, except for Jacob, who decided to comment on the episode that he was going to be on. Sean Coates says, I've always appreciated how straightforward the maps in GTA are. They keep navigation simple and user-friendly, which is something more games could learn from. I also enjoy games that let you set your own waypoints and offer a breadcrumb trail to guide you, especially when it's done in an immersive way like the guiding wind in Ghost of Tsushima. I'm currently playing through Star Wars Outlaws, and unfortunately the map system falls short. Pinpoints don't provide enough detail to help you distinguish the terrain, making it harder to navigate efficiently to your destination. I would be curious to hear from you, Sean, as to whether or not you've played that game post-patch, because I've heard they have overhauled that game enough to the point that I'm going to jump back into it.
I mean, he's right. The initial map thing, I could never tell. I was like, is this outside of the town? Is this in the city? Where is this? Yeah. So I feel him on that one.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they fixed that or not. I would be curious to hear. So
right, yeah. And the GTA maps are nice and simple.
I like the color. There's the clean black and white. In the more recent ones, yeah. They're the standard.
Yeah. They are.
You guys like the guiding wind in Tsushima?
Yeah,
I love that.
Sure, it was great.
I didn't play that game, but it's part of. I have a whole rant about like adding training wheels to video games. So in the Elder Scrolls 3, there were no waypoints. There were no map markers. There were no. Well, I guess there were map markers, but not the ones that you were looking for. Once you found an area on the map, it was marked on your map, but you can fast travel to it and you couldn't mark it. You had to read your journal, and to find the dungeon, it was like a mile north of the town that you were in, whatever, and it would label all this stuff out. And so then you had to jump on the trail and go and actually find it. And if you found a dungeon, you had to look at it to make sure that it was actually the dungeon you were looking for, and then continue your quest. A few games later, now they've got a spell called clairvoyance. And so marking your destination isn't just good enough. Now they have clairvoyance where it gives you like the wind, where it kind of like guides you down the path in the direction of where you need to go. I don't know. I have a whole rant of making games a hell of a lot easier than what they need to be, but
Are you shaking your fist at a cloud while you give that rant?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Well, in Ghost of Tsushima, it's doing that because it's giving you less information than other games, so that's nice.
Yes,
and you have to opt in to keep swiping up on the touchpad in order to make the wind show up. So it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, I liked it. It's better than just like, I mean, in Dead Space it made sense, right? Like you're in space and you've got this high technology where he like just kind of scans the floor and it leaves like a laser Hansel and Gretel style breadcrumb trail.
Laser breadcrumb.
I love that. And plus it made that cool freaking noise every time you did it.
Unlike Fable 2, which was just like the constant breadcrumb trail, and didn't make a cool noise, and basically it was just like, and it almost felt like it was annoyed at you when you went off the path.
I don't remember that at all.
Well, glowing,
glowing gold path. Yeah,
that was always coming away from you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Sean, thanks for the comment, and the three of you, thanks for that discussion. I feel like that one's been long overdue. I feel like I'm also going to think of like 4 or 5 others. As I play some games, I'm like, oh, this was a good map, or that reminds me of another really good map. But that's the way it is. Next week's topic, we're going back to the first of the month, so it's going to be community questions. So stay tuned to the social medias. We will be posting that there for you, and we'd love to have some good discussion points for next week. But that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Allen, thank you so much for being our guest, man. It's been awesome.
Thank you for having me.
And where can our listeners follow you and your work?
So we're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter under Toastid Waffel, and that's TOASTIDWAFFEL. You can find links to all of those on our website, toastedwaffle.com. And you can I have that, but you can also just spell that correctly. I also bought that domain, so
I was smart.
toastedwaffle.com spelled correctly. You can find all of the links to everything there. So,
and
Very
Catastrophic Inversion.
Catastrophic Inversion on MetaQuest. You can search that, and that will show right up. And if you're in your headset or on the store on your phone,
$9.99.
If you've got a headset and you got a friend with a headset, totally worth checking out that game. It is awesome.
it's $10. Why not?
Yeah, dude. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. This episode was produced by Kevin Honigford. All the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website, as always, is stemagemusic.com, STEMAGE music.com. And we'll be hearing from him here in the near future. Our Game of the Year episode's coming up in about a month or less. He traditionally comes and joins us for that. I'm looking forward to hearing from him again. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Allen, do you have any parting words or recommendations for our listeners before we get out of here?
I could not think of anything to recommend this week, but I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving or has already had one, depending on when you're listening to this episode.
There you go. Zach, how about you?
I watched a movie when I came back from Japan called Wicked Little Letters on Netflix. And it's about a 1920s English town that's ravaged by a terrible scandal where someone is sending vulgar letters to their neighbors.
That sounds kind of cool.
And it's it's causing quite a tizzy in the town, and it's all about trying to. But there's this Irish immigrant woman who's she's loud and rambunctious and curses a lot, which is very unbecoming of a lady. So naturally, the town assumes it's her who's writing these mean letters, and antics sort of ensue as we try to figure out who's really writing the letters, and some of them get pretty personal, and the curse words they come up with are pretty fun. And it's just it was just like a really fun idea for a movie and a really funny execution. It was a real delight. So Wicked
Nice.
Little Letters, I think it's on Netflix. Highly recommended.
Very interesting. Jacob, how about you?
So, in the season spirit, in a couple of days is Thanksgiving, and my wife's annual trilogy now of watching all of the Deadpools will be happening on Thanksgiving. And so I recommend everyone to join us in our holiday season and watch all the Deadpools with us.
They're all available now on Disney, of
yes,
all
they
places. Just so bizarre to think about.
What better way to celebrate the slaughtering of indigenous tribes than with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. I mean, there aren't many Thanksgiving movies, right? Like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is like legitimately the only one I can ever think of.
There's Thanksgiving now. The slasher.
Well, yeah.
What a better... Wow.
But the fake trailer from 15 years ago was probably better than the movie, though.
I don't know if I've seen that. Talking about.
Yeah, you see Grindhouse, the Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez
Oh, yeah, it was
thing?
one of the trailers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For instance, the best scene in that trailer is not in the movie, which is ridiculous.
Oh.
Stupid. You hear me, Eli Roth? Stupid.
As for me, I got some music recommendations. Coheed and Cambria has announced a new album coming out in March. Obviously, I'm very excited. They are my favorite band. They've released 2 tracks off of the album so far, and one of them is called Searching for Tomorrow. The other one released a month or so ago, but Searching for Tomorrow is awesome. It is really good. It immediately hooks you. Highly recommend checking that out if you haven't already. And I'm stealing this one from a listener of Jeff Kanata's podcast, DLC, recommended an album to me, and I checked it out. The band is State Champs. They just dropped a new album that is self-titled, and the entire thing, every single track on this album is fantastic. I don't know what these guys did with their writing for this album, but it's just so good. Very pop punk, but very catchy pop punk. It brings me back to the late 90s, early 2000s era of pop punk, and I'm really digging that. So, again, State Champs, their self-titled album, which just released like a couple weeks ago. That's it. Thank you so much, Zach. Thank you, Jacob, and thank you, Alan. It's been a pleasure. So to everybody out there, I appreciate you listening. Please keep on listening. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Jacob Gunderson, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.